Short with you. We'll get to some Royals baseball here in about 7 minutes or so. Something that J.J. Piccolo, the general manager of the Royals, alluded to a little bit last week when he joined us. Well, it played out that way yesterday. Got us thinking about how different maybe this go-around is. We'll tell you what player in particular it involves in just a little bit. We know there's a lot of questions still out there on the Chiefs front, and the Orlando Brown situation got more complicated based off of the news that they're not going to tag Orlando Brown Jr. by the 3 o'clock deadline today. It extends this out for a couple more days, as we've talked about with long-term deal discussions, and then he could become a free agent. All of that is part of the biggest question remaining, but also, what about Chris Jones, right? Chris Jones is someone that is the best defensive tackle in football, had 15 and a half sacks. If you're making your list of the biggest remaining offseason questions, I thought that to me was one of those that needed to be answered pretty quick. Said people he's talking to that maybe they're not going to actually get Chris Jones his new deal until after the draft. Well, that's
that
the
doesn't
case.
surprise me because they've got to figure out how to structure it.
Yeah, we can table that a little bit. Let's wait till May, basically, is what they're saying, if that's the case. So, okay, I don't think anybody should be panicked then if something isn't happening. It gives you an idea of the timeline. If you're waking up a month from now and it's the middle of April, you're like, man, they still haven't done anything with Chris Jones. Well, it sounds like that is part of the plan, that they're waiting. I still think it's clearly one of the biggest questions that they got to get resolved, but I don't think anybody's all that concerned there. The number one after Orlando Brown Jr. in terms of time sensitivity has to be the Juju deal. He becomes a free agent next week. The league year starts next week. I mean, that's another market that will blow up on you if you can't get to a spot where you feel like you can essentially have the deal inked before the league year.
Notice they're letting Orlando Brown Jr. talk to people because they're like, hey, you go find out your number. They're like, hey, Juju, don't talk to anybody. We don't want them filling your head with how much money they'll give you. Instead, we would rather you thinking about staying here and being here and liking that. I would say the two most important things, because I know that I was just wrong on Orlando Brown Jr., admittedly, because I thought that they were for sure going to franchise tag him. So now it has me rethinking my entire thought of what I thought was going to occur this offseason for the Chiefs a little bit. Like, okay, Chris Jones is getting a deal, right? They're going to extend him because the only other option is trade. I don't think there's any way. It's the same thing as Frank Clark. You can't just play Chris Jones at $30 million this year. You already have the 8th most cap space out of any team in the NFL right now because of the 2 moves you made yesterday. But if you want to extend Chris Jones, and depending on how you want to structure that money, you got to decide on Mahomes' contract too. If you convert close to $30 million on Mahomes' contract, you will have to pay him like $6, $7, $8 million more per year over the next 4 years. But you can save $28 million this offseason, which means you can pay Chris Jones, you can pay Juju Smith-Schuster, you can pay a left tackle, even if it's not Orlando Brown Jr. I think you got to decide on the Mahomes contract soon.
Well, that's the thing. Is this the offseason where they feel they didn't do it last year? Is this the offseason they feel like they need to convert it, or are they also going to?
They think they're going to get?
Are they also going to say, you know what? Well, we can actually wait another year again. Why? And because that's actually still the better long-term option for them.
Sure.
So
the longer they can hold off on pushing that money into the future, the better. Because then they're not one. It makes it easier for reworking Mahomes' deal because there's not this extra $7 million per year floating around on that contract, which would already be problematic. But in addition to that, you've already taken some of the upfront cost of Patrick Mahomes away. Numbers you thought you were always going to have to move. But if you want Juju and Orlando Brown and Chris Jones, tell me how they can do that without restructuring Patrick Mahomes. Tell me they can do that. And look, they don't have to restructure the whole 28.
It's just a conversion. They don't have to even restructure anything.
Yeah.
They just convert.
Well, yeah. And they don't have to convert the 28. They can convert just the amount they want, Gold, right? Let's say you convert $15 million and you're like, you know what? We really only want to pay like $3 extra million over the next, or $4 extra million over the next 4 years, not 7, because that doesn't hurt as bad or nearly as bad. And we're going to let all these other, to me, it's about letting all these other quarterback numbers balloon to you. Because Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert will probably get long-term extensions this year, but their numbers won't balloon up for a couple of years. You want them similar to like Josh Allen's takes his big leap this year. You want them to catch up to you, and you're trying to buy time on that, but you might need all that money if you want to pay all these guys, right?
Yeah, it's Orlando Brown Jr. Monday and Tuesday, really, of next week. Once the market opens up, it's Juju. And then after that, you table Chris Jones, it sounds like, till after the draft. You can do the conversion if you need to on Mahomes. And then another name that we haven't talked about today yet, but we did last week, L'Jarius Sneed. He still has a year on his contract. They don't have to get something done, but typically we just know usually you get it done before they enter their final year. Depending on what happens on the Juju and Orlando Brown Jr. front, I think will dictate whether or not they can get something done with Snead this offseason, or he's going to have to, or he'll end up playing out his final year. I know there was some rumblings, should they look into moving on trading Snead? I told you, absolutely not. I think Snead is far too valuable for this team, the role that he serves on defense. He's not just a corner.
But on the priority list, man.
Right, and that's why he's further down.
He's down it.
Or have him play out his final year.
Which I think is a risk you can take. Why not, honest to God, with Snead, why not take the risk now? Like, I understand you don't want him to walk in free agency and cost too much money too, Gold, but what if it turns out all three of these rookie corners are even better than they were their rookie year? Then does it really even make sense to pay Snead? Like, seriously. If Trent McDuffie ends up being a number one corner, and Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson take a leap, it doesn't, as much as Snead matters to this defense, it's not good financial sense to pay him.
My only question is still, and maybe they already have the answer, is McDuffie a guy that can also be part of the blitz packages?
I don't know, but can't it just be Chenal? He'll send somebody else. Don't we give Spags credit for being good at getting anybody to do that?
Yes. I mean, yes. We've in fact, I would say if there's anybody that's defended Spags, probably it's been you or me, actually, more over the last couple of years.
Or even me, perhaps.
Maybe. I'm not so sure about Nick. I don't know.
See.
Jason Brown called you a fanboy, so maybe he's right. I'm not so sure. But
yeah, Spags fanboy.
So Snead, though, we just know how effective he is. He can line up in multiple areas, and he can blitz. I think, to me, at minimum, you play out this year. I would not be looking to trade L'Jarius Snead. I think you can talk about contract depending on what financial situation you're in after your decision on Jones, what happens with Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, as we've talked about.
No, I don't disagree with the notion of just I'd be fine. I'd entertain trading Snead, but I don't know that you're going to get the value back on it that justifies it. To me, there's not a ton. There's a little risk, as there always is, but there's not a ton of risk in letting him play it out and finding just how good those three guys are. But maybe Jalen Watson's really good at blitzing. It's not like Snead just did that day one. That took time. That became a developed part of his game. Maybe that can develop into what Joshua Williams does. Maybe they send him from the linebackers more often. Like, there's choices. Before, and by the way, before he was Snead, they used to send Matthew all the time. Like, Snead, for the most part, like, you can be critical of Spags, and there's plenty of people on the text line who hate him. We've gone back and forth. We've talked about how we kind of thought he got a free pass this year going into the year, or at least I said that you should just give him this year to figure it out. They went out and won the Super Bowl again. But no matter what my criticisms of Spags are, there's one thing I'm pretty sure of. He's good at designing blitzes. So he'll find somebody who can do that job for him.
Is there anybody that now, free agency next week, but do you feel less likely is returning? Because, one, Thornhill's a free agent. We've been talking about for the last couple of weeks about looking at guys that are, McKinnon, Thornhill, and others that are Frank Clark now, of course, Carlos Dunlap, Saunders, Noddy, these guys that are free agents, and whether or not they're back, you need to bring one of them back. Talking about the interior defensive line, I still maintain I don't see Thornhill back with the team this next season. I don't think they will spend money. For that. To me, that was already a sign. And then all these other questions that you're trying to get answered financially and not put yourself in a bad spot cap wise. I don't want to be paying another safety on a veteran deal. I'm already paying Justin Reed. No problem with that at all. I don't know if I want to have another safety that I'm paying a three or 4 year deal to.
Like, it's just not one of those, we talked about, like, positional value all the time. It's so far down the list. Like, those things are so far down the list. But if Frank Clark's gone, then finding another defensive end is somewhere on this list all the same, right? Those big offseason questions, finding another defensive lineman you like is on there. But the question is, are you going to explore cheap veteran options, because Dunlap is also a free agent, or are you going to just try to solve this via the draft? Assume Karlaftis takes a jump, take another guy in the draft, bring back Saunders, whatever. But they're like, defensive line help is somewhere on here outside of just paying Chris Jones, which remains one of the higher priority things. We just know based on how everything is laying out, or what Bob was reporting this morning, that's down the road a little bit. So it doesn't feel as pressing.
We'll get to Nick's notable notes here in about 5 minutes or so, but the Royals spring training success continues. They won again yesterday.
10-2.
They won. So they keep on rolling. But there's one thing they did with the lineup and the defensive alignment. And I understand that there's a lot of guys that are currently at the World Baseball Classic, so that is also factoring into this because so many spots have to be filled. World Baseball Classic starts tonight. We know guys like Melendez and Vinny and Nicky Lopez, Brady Singer, all part of World Baseball. Salvador Perez, part of World Baseball Classic rosters. But we had J.J. Picollo on the show last week, and he talked about the center field depth and saying, they're going to make a move, and they did later that day, by the way. They brought in Jackie Bradley Jr. We also talked about Michael Garcia. And he said, he's going to get a little work in the outfield. Here we are a week later. Yesterday he was playing center field.
Not just the outfield, just straight up playing center. This signifies to me a change, a willingness to change that we did not see in the old regime. How many times do we ask them to just see if Adalberto Mondesi could play the outfield? They're actively working to find a spot for an incredibly young, talented player. And they understand that his normal spot, shortstop, that's problematic because Bobby Witt Jr. plays there. They understand that his normal spot may be third base. That's probably a more logical fit if they're going to try to get Hunter Dozier a number of things. But what if we played him a little bit short, a little bit at third, and a little bit in the outfield? I understand that we just talked about positional value as it relates to MJ Melendez and probably the likelihood that he's going to be playing right field a huge chunk of the season. I'm pretty convinced they're going to take, like, our whole thing of, like, catch MJ more is the antithesis of what's going to happen. They're just going to bring in Freddie Fermin, and they're going to carry 3 catchers again. And on the off days, it's going to be Fermin who catches, and MJ Melendez is just going to play right field the entire season. And I have questions about that unless MJ Melendez takes a huge swing forward in the offensive category. But trying Garcia in center, I like, because it tells me that they're willing to not just hold out for, because it was, remember Dayton's thing, the thing that, like, kind of makes sense but also irritates you, which is not only do they have to be performing, but there has to be a place for them. No, screw that. Find a place for them. They're finding a place for Michael Garcia.
Trying to balance, though, how much is it what you're saying of this organization?
Just World Baseball Classic?
Yeah, because like I mean, it sounds great, and I like the idea. Oh, they're willing to move guys around a little bit more and get truly get the better guys out there and find out more. I like it, and I'm hoping that's what it is.
But then if they do Jackie Bradley Jr. on the opening roster, you'd be like, well, they did the same thing.
Then there's part of me that's like, all right, is this honestly just the bodies? Like we bodies, they have to have different guys out there to begin with because so many guys are involved for the next 2 weeks potentially over in Taiwan or other areas playing in this World Baseball Classic. Probably the correct answer is a little bit of both. That they would like to do it, and this just really opened it up and made it to where it was very easy for them to make the adjustment. I also, on the other end, what is it? Kyle Isbell has the inside track, we believe, for center field.
Oh, you're worried that this signifies a bad thing for Isbell.
They know his defense is there. Offense. Now, if you look at his spring training numbers, it's spring training, but he's hitting like 420, a 550 on base, something like that.
It's actually worse than Michael Garcia in both categories somehow.
But Kyle, it's not like he's having a bad spring.
No, he's having a very good spring.
This is my part. My point is not like Kyle Isbell can't hit. Kyle Isbell cannot hit during spring. That hasn't been the issue. So it may just be simply bodies, and also they really like Michael Garcia. Let's just keep having him out there and see what happens as spring continues.
Look, if you're right, maybe I'm ahead of the curve here, and it's not like, to me, this is signifying at least a willingness to change. You're right, because it's not a change if Jackie Bradley Jr. starts on this roster and Garcia.
Has he played in a game yet, Jackie Bradley Jr.?
No, I think he just.
I don't even think he's played in the game yet.
But they brought him over just as like, let's just have an extra guy here because we don't know what else could happen, right? You sign him to a minor league deal because what if Isbell pulls a hamstring or right? But if you actually believe the more talented player, right now the more talented player to put on your everyday roster is Garcia, not Jackie Bradley Jr. There's a reason why he is highly coveted in your organization, and there's a reason why Jackie Bradley Jr. was available on the street close to April, right? So it's just, like whatever it is, those things still exist. And I hope that this means a willingness to find any reason to put this guy in the roster if they really do think he's one of the best 26 players they have.
Gotta write something down.
Nick's notable notes.
All right, guys, a lot to get to today as the dominoes are beginning to fall with the NFL offseason. Whoa!
Wait,
inside
in notes?
Whoa!
That's I didn't know that was allowed.
I didn't know that was allowed either, quite honestly. But I guess you know what they say is true, guys. The mock drafts wait for no one.
So today's the first one with Bink, I'm getting.
This is a big mock.
As far as I know, we are still patiently waiting for Bink's first mock draft.
Man, you guys have a second episode of Character Concerns?
Yeah, episode 2 of Character Concerns is out wherever you get your podcasts, and we broke down the Orlando Brown Jr. news, all the combine standouts. I think you should text him.
I'm texting Bink right now. He texts us during the show. I'm going to say, where the hell's the mock, man?
Light a fire under his butt.
Where the hell is your
mock?
You're
going to use the H word? You're going to use the H word?
I just said, where the hell is your mock? I just texted him.
All right, guys.
He'll text me back.
I do have a mock for you.
From?
A big boy mock.
Oh.
Todd McShay.
Oh, wow.
Todd of ESPN released his first mock draft. And this came out earlier this morning, so this is after the Orlando Brown Jr. and the Frank Clark news. Where do you guys think Todd went? I'll tell you. At pick number 31, Todd has the Chiefs selecting Derek Hall, defensive end.
So
out of Auburn.
I saw his name come up because at the Combine last week, he was speaking like all these players did, but had mentioned, big text me, I'll tell you what he said in a second. Derek Hall, I knew he would text back in like 20 seconds. Derek Hall mentioned how he sat down and talked with the Chiefs and had a meeting with Andy. Like, I believe he was one of those players that publicly come out and said that he met with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that there's a little bit of a connection there. Bink, by the way, says, draft picks aren't even set! Exclamation point.
Oh.
We don't even have comps yet. Everybody is doing 1 through 32. That's easy.
First, it's 1 through 31, Bink.
And give us a little taste, Bink. We don't need the whole thing. Just
I
give us a
said-
little
give us a little.
appetizer.
Come on.
All right, we need it, Bink.
How about
Cody, what
first
do you
rounder?
do? What do you do for your kids if there's an hour and a half before dinner and they're begging you for food? They're talking about how hungry they are. What do you do?
Depends on the day. Some days you're just like, no, wait for dinner. And other days I'm like, I don't care. Just
Have some
eat anything.
crackers?
He says,
Yeah, you just like throw a handful of chips at them and hope that they leave you alone for an hour.
That's all we're asking for, Bink. Handful of chips.
Bink said that the comp stuff should come out soon, and once he has that, he said he's putting that on Fridays. The mock drafts on Fridays.
He's dropping them on Fridays. So he's going to make us wait.
Oh, yeah.
Deep into the week before we get to these mock drafts. So, yeah.
We got a problem, actually.
Uh-oh.
He's holding until Friday. He's releasing it on Fesco in the morning.
Excuse me?
I thought you hosting character concerns would give us an
Listen.
inside edge on this.
Actually,
Guys, I'll handle
let's
this.
try to steal that.
I'll handle this.
Let's put that on this show.
I think it needs to be
We
on the
need to
podcast.
engage. We need to engage in intense What do we have to offer, Bink? By the way, that Fesco and the morning crew can't. We have a trump card here.
I don't know. I just told him I'm reading every text on air, Bink. Be careful what you say.
I would imagine, if knowing Bink the way I do, he's probably listening to every word we're saying right now. So yeah, Derek Hall for
Name
Todd
your
McShay.
price.
He's sick. He's weighing in about 6'3", 250. He's a little bit smaller than maybe the prototype for Spags. Like, right, Jordan, you think of these George Karlaftis, these big earth mover guys that can sort of play inside, outside. So he's a little bit smaller. He's got that quick burst, maybe that speed rusher replacement for a guy like Frank Clark. What do you think here? 4-year contributor at Auburn?
I love the idea of getting a lot younger on the defensive line. They've just been kind of rotating through the same guys they drafted like 4 years ago. So the new fresh faces they can have
Might be
there
a
to
bit
go
of a-
like Chris Jones feels like a good decision.
Might be a bit of a reach there at 31. My only issue.
They're not trading down. If it comes down to them at 31 and they're standing in Kansas City, and now for the final pick of the first round of the 2023 NFL draft, standing there at Union Station, 0% chance they trade down at that case, even if it is a reach. They're going to take somebody.
Well, guys, before I was interrupted by that mock draft sounder, I was going to get some of the dominoes that are starting to fall. We saw the big news yesterday morning. Derek Carr signs with the New Orleans Saints. Geno Smith signs with the Seattle Seahawks. Some of these quarterback questions are starting to answer themselves, but the big one, or two big ones that remain, are what are going to happen with Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers. Late last night, the report came out that the Ravens are going to be going all the way up to the deadline trying to work out a long-term extension with Lamar. My question for you guys is this posturing? Do you think the Ravens actually have any intention on getting a long-term contract done today, or is this just them trying to position themselves? It looks like they did everything
Correct.
they possibly could.
Bingo.
think
They do
that's-
want to sign Lamar to a long-term deal, but at the amount of money they want to spend. So they're trying to make it seem like Lamar is the bad guy here.
Yeah, I think this is a PR play at this point, and it's not that they don't want him as their quarterback, but I think they recognize that ship has sailed at this point, based off of you're so far apart, and we know he wants X amount guaranteed, and they're just not willing to get to it. And so I think the relationship is completely fractured. I think both sides are done with each other at this point.
The other one, Aaron Rodgers, now reports from both Trey Wingo and the Packers beat writer for ESPN, Rob D. We're going to say Demovsky.
Demovsky,
I believe is how you say his
Rob
name.
D.
As well as our guy, Dan Graziano. Even though he's never been on the show, he's our guy because...
Should we just get him on just because?
Yeah. They're saying that they're both reporting that the New York Jets have had conversations with Aaron Rodgers this week regarding a potential trade from Green Bay to the Jets. It's important to remember he is still under contract.
I was going to say,
with Green Bay.
the Packers had to have given him permission. Otherwise, it's just
correct.
blatant tampering.
I'm telling you right now, if Aaron Rodgers gets traded to the Jets, we're having Vinny on from Taiwan. I don't care what time we have to record this. Not important. We're having Vinny on from
You're
Taiwan.
going to bother Vinny in like the biggest weekend of his life?
Yes. We got an instant
This is
breakdown.
a huge week for his baseball.
NFL Insider.
He's got a lot to focus on over there. He's representing an entire country.
I know, but he had time to. He was doing some fun videos. He was talking about Nicky Lopez got plunked in an exhibition
Wait
game.
a minute.
Intentionally.
I want to hear him finish this thought though. You just said he had some time to
he's got some time.
No, you made it seem like he had some time to focus on baseball. Now it's back to the stuff that matters.
Being
The
our
New York
NFL Insider.
the New York Jets.
Not the regular season yet. You know, just one quick take on what he thinks about Aaron Rodgers to the Jets if it happens. That's all. 2 minutes.
Let him focus on his thing,
He's
man.
trying to win a World Baseball
Yeah.
Championship, and you want to talk about the Jets.
You want to talk about
He's
a
worried about
washed
Team
up
Italy?
quarterback.
You tell him that to his face. You know how excited he'd be about a real better Mike White.
Oh, if I was a Jets fan and you got Aaron Rodgers, you should be thrilled and the best you've been feeling in a decade.
I'd rather have Lamar Jackson, personally.
Yes.
Yeah, I just don't think that's going to happen.
Well, where's he going to go?
Atlanta.
That's just a done deal?
No, but that's
I think he's going to stay one more year in Baltimore.
Really?
Just under the
Wow.
franchise tag. Held hostage. Teams like doing that.
It's not holding them hostage.
It kind of is.
Well, he's paying them a lot of money.
But you don't get
It's a great hostage situation.
You don't get the long-term security.
You know, the
we know
movies,
how this works.
You're
in the
saying-
movies, when they take somebody hostage and they tie them to a chair and they're pulling their tongue out with
Waterboarding them.
pliers, they usually don't hand them a briefcase afterwards with $30 million in it.
No, it's a slightly better hostage situation, but still.
Those are Nick's notable notes. Up next, though, there's a report the Chiefs have interest in one player. It also had a GM saying very interesting things. We'll tell you who and what next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold.
He's so good, and everyone knows it.
Brought to you by GAN Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, GAN Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Change your career in just 4 months. Changing your life can honestly be that easy.
Just 4 months, and you could have a new career in IT. Think about a number of different areas that go under the IT umbrella: cybersecurity, Amazon Web Services, and so much more.
Their job is to get you a job. They're going to do anything they can to help you start that new career. I've been in dead-end jobs. It sucks. All you do is sit around thinking about how you want to leave that job every day. Don't do that to yourself.
I think we recognize IT is the future, so make it your future as well. Chance for better hours, better pay. That's probably something that most of you listening would love to have, and a career you're going to be proud of.
Go to Centric.com/610 to see what they can do for you. Our guy, Russ Mondry, he's going to walk you through everything, make it easy to see your future in IT.
Did you know there's 30,000 open IT jobs across the country, and Centric has multiple ways to help you start your new career with tons of financing options available, and of course they accept the GI Bill as well.
Change your career in 4 months. Go to Centric.com/610.
Catch all the tournament action this year over at The Other Place. With 3 great Kansas City locations, The Other Place is a one-of-a-kind game day experience with great food specials, great beer specials, and enough televisions that you'll catch every buzzer beater this March. The Other Place, Shawnee, Olathe, and downtown Overland Park.
With inflation on the rise, you may be charging more to your credit card. But be careful. That increased debt can cause your credit score to suffer.
Don't get stuck with a low credit score and a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. Call Golden Oak Lending now.
Refinance with our low rates to wipe out your high-interest credit card debt and put extra cash in your pocket. Call 913-890-GOLD. NMLS 114937.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
3 people you should be 100% certain about: your barber, your plumber, and your tax pro. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and you can be 100% certain about your taxes. get you your maximum refund guaranteed, and we'll back your return for life. Don't be kind of certain or almost certain. Be 100% certain. Switch to Jackson Hewitt today and get 50% off tax prep. Limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Hey, I'm Andy. I started Harry's because I was frustrated with buying razors at the drugstore. And when I say frustrated, I mean like so upset I called my friend Jeff.
Hello, this is Jeff.
Jeff, I'm at the store, and I don't get why these razors
cost so much?
Yeah, and do they need to look like robots?
Dude, I know. And it's so frustrating how expensive they are.
Getting ripped off sucks.
We gotta do something about this.
Why don't we make our own high-quality razors at much better prices?
Actually, I heard about this German razor factory that makes some really high-quality blades.
Really? Okay, maybe that's not exactly how it went. But we did buy that German factory, where we're turning high-quality steel into super sharp blades for a smooth shave at a great price. Seriously, as low as $2 per cartridge. Over the past 10 years, 20 million people have tried Harry's. Join them and get your starter set now. That's a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, and shave gel, all for just $3 with free shipping, backed by our quality guarantee. If you don't like it, it's on us. Just go to harrys.com now and enter code SMOOTH at checkout. That's harrys.com, code SMOOTH.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. You're listening to the official broadcast partner of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, and Odyssey Station.
11 o'clock hour, Cody and Gold. We'll get to the Chiefs Red half hour in 30 minutes. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Nick Schwartz with you. Trash of the day in about 20 minutes or so. Keeping an eye on franchise tag deadline. Less drama for Chiefs fans now that we already have the news, of course, that Orlando Brown Jr. will not be tagged by the 3 o'clock deadline. But there's certainly, as Nick was pointing out during his notes, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson trade news, of course, new rumors coming out on a regular basis. We'll see if any other surprise player gets franchise tagged today. Really, it's just Lamar Jackson is kind of the question of the
exactly which
tag. Yeah, and then yesterday was Tony Pollard and Evan Ingram officially having the franchise
or if they'll
tag.
have to franchise tag Daniel Jones, yeah.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is the other quarterback to keep an eye on as well. And as we're about a week or so away from the league year opening up, you're going to start seeing more and more rumors come out about players that a certain team likes or a certain team is linked to. And the latest has to do with wide receiver Allen Lazard. In a weak free agent wide receiver class, Allen Lazard is right up there with Juju Smith-Schuster, for example, as wide receivers that are going to be highly sought after for obvious reasons. And there at least is a report from Matthew Berry of NBC Sports, friend of the show now, right? We had him on the
he came on the show. Sure.
Friend of the show. Okay.
He seemed to enjoy his time on the show,
I think
so I
so.
would like to say he's a friend.
Did he seem to enjoy his time on the show?
After he left, after we got done talking to him, you were talking to him. I think you handed him a Papa Murphy's gift card.
I had to explain to him
okay, but in fairness,
over and over again what Papa Murphy's was.
Yeah, you really had to give an in-depth, but you spent
goes,
the time.
What? He's like, what? He goes, so like you have to make it yourself? I said, no, it's already made. And he's like, they don't have these in Connecticut. I said, all right. I don't know what to tell you, man.
So Matthew Berry.
Sorry, but it was just a weird exchange.
He reports that the Chiefs and Ravens have shown interest in free agent wide receiver Allen Lazard. Let me just read you a quote from his column.
This is important.
From his column, quote, "My nipples are hard for Allen Lazard," according to his source. His source went on to explain that was a phrase he heard about Lazard, one of the top free agent wide receivers. I heard both the Ravens and Chiefs really like Lazard. Their sense is that Lazard is returning to Green Bay is not out of the question, but an unlikely outcome. So whoever his source was,
there's
is very excited about Allen Lazard, so much so that their nipples are hard.
There's a chance that Brett Veach said, "My nipples are hard for Allen Lazard."
Uh-huh.
I honestly kind of hope it was him, and that he will later confirm that if they sign Allen Lazard.
Can you imagine at a podium setting, Brett, quick, just want to clip that up. You guys seen Allen Lazard this offseason, great signing. Is it true, though, your nipples were hard, Brett?
Can you confirm or deny how hard your nipples are about this signing of Allen Lazard?
No, better yet, just hold up a picture of Allen Lazard and then just reach out and caress his nipples.
Matter of fact, I actually think for as many times you've accused me of bringing agents on the show or guys they should trade for, our official new ranking system is how hard are your nipples for this free agent.
That's fair.
That's the only way to do this going forward. We do not do a 1 to 5 scale or interest level scale. It is a hardness of nipple scale. That's it. That's how we determine whether or not you're interested.
Are they cutting diamonds?
So,
okay, then
so
you're
is
really
one hard
interested.
and what's the level here?
Yep.
So Alan Lazard, for you, I mean, would you say is one hard at least?
Okay, so
just one?
Clearly Lazard and some of the other wide receivers who are available are the B option to what would be the best option in free agency at wide receiver in Juju Smith-Schuster. So I want to make that clear now. But if they're going to go to the B options of wide receiver, my nipples are harder for Jacoby Myers.
Oh, yeah?
You couldn't even get it out.
I tried.
Is that right?
I really tried.
You said it so seriously, too.
Like it was a real... But I'm serious. I feel like he's better fit. He's been an 800-yard receiver each of the last 2 seasons. That's better than any season MVS has ever put on paper. He's been doing that with largely no one at quarterback for New England during that time. He's shown progress. He's a 26-year-old receiver, will be 27. Like, I just feel like he's kind of like you called him, Nick. He's a bit of an innings eater. Like, I do think he can be a 70, 80 catch guy for a lot of different rosters, which is pretty much what he's been doing for them. I actually think Jacoby Myers is a much better fit than Lazard.
So here's where Lazard makes sense to me. If you tell me that Juju Smith-Schuster isn't back, and that's still who I would like back on the Chiefs, I would like them to work on a multi-year deal and bring Juju Smith-Schuster back. Alan Lazard, much like Juju, though, can block. And we joke, people didn't like when we said that.
He's massive.
People didn't like when we said that last offseason about the 2 wide receivers the Chiefs brought in.
Well, it's like the last thing you care about when it comes to wide receivers.
But it was definitely a shift in the type of wide receiver. We said, hey, you know what's noticed about MVS and Juju being brought in? They're both, to Nick's point, they're both big physical wide receivers that can block. They hadn't had a wide receiver that could block like that since Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, and they went 13 personnel along
and
all that stuff.
It worked very well for them, obviously, this year. Alan Lazard, I think, could offer that skill set that Juju has if you lose it. However, Juju, to me, Juju works in this system. You know he can be, other than Kelsey, your number 1 receiving threat, and he can go across the middle of the field, and he's a guy, even in the Super Bowl, I know the stats weren't massive in the Super Bowl. One particular drive, though, he had 3 catches, I think it was, on that one drive. That was key. You could count on him. You could trust him. I would prefer Juju, but I would also prefer Alan Lazard over Jacoby Myers, though. If you're giving me my choice, obviously it sounds like your nipples are a little bit different than mine, clearly. So when it comes to that, I would go ahead and say that Alan Lazard
on the nipple scale.
Harder
than
you.
You know that they have been in the league almost the identical amount of time, and Jacoby Myers has well outproduced Alan Lazard.
But let's stop talking about production. Let's talk about who they are. Like, they're complete. Alan Lazard is 6'5". Is Juju. He is a big physical across the middle.
Myers is 6'2", 200. That's actually Juju's size, I think.
Alan Lazard he's going to play with physicality. He's going to play with strength and size. Jacoby Meyer is more of a precise route runner that's going to work the middle of the field. So you're talking about one guy who's basically a Juju safety valve. If you don't get Juju, you go after Alan Lazard. You can't get a long-term deal done. You can find a cheaper option in Lazard. How many guys across the middle do you want on this wide receiver room, though?
Like, I would rather, again, I feel like what we're talking about is, let's try to recreate the exact offenses last year, and the Chiefs so rarely do that.
Right, but
that was the advantage of what you were just talking about, the previous wide receivers. If you're not doing Juju, then do the next best wide receiver at a similar price. And if Lazard and Jacoby Myers are going to cost a similar price, Jacoby Myers has definitively been more productive. He's a better overall number pass catcher, overall yardage pass catcher. Like, he's just as good in a yards per catch.
Here's the difference. He's been the only option. He's been the only option.
Yeah, but Lazard was hurt part of this year, so that certainly hurts him.
That's my only pushback on that is, Jacoby Myers, honestly, who else did he have, man?
Yeah, I know, but then we got to talk about quarterback discrepancy. One guy had Aaron Rodgers, the other guy was slumming it.
But we know when it comes to the production, the fit, much like how we discussed, MVS ended up being very similar, obviously, this particular season. But MVS was also, the number 3 option, I think is fair to say, 4 option at times in this offense.
But God, Lazard was, 2 of those years he spent with the 2-time MVP, and he was only putting up 500 yards. He was not very productive.
Well,
Lazard was not productive.
None of these guys are going to be the number 1 receiving option in the Chiefs' offense, though, anyway.
No, but I think Myers has a better chance to do that. As far as wide receiver goes.
If Alan Lazard was what you sound like you think he should have been with Aaron Rodgers, then Alan Lazard would be getting a 4-year deal for $120 million this offseason. So we wouldn't be having this conversation. It's a weak free agent wide receiver draft class. Nobody on Lazard is perfect, and sure as hell Jacoby Myers is not either.
No, I just feel like the upside is better with Myers, and the current productivity has been better with Myers, and I don't think that they're going to be drastically different in the price. Yes, they will be less expensive than Juju, but all we're talking about here is we've all made it clear we'd like Juju back. These are the these are the backup options. Like, these are the choices outside of Juju you go with. I'm not looking for the direct, diet Juju Smith-Schuster. I think I just want the more talented wide receiver. At this point, I feel like that Kobe Myers. Unless Lazard, if Lazard had played healthy all year, we'd have probably got a better answer. But because he got hurt and he was the number one wide receiver in Green Bay in a year where he was hurt, you don't really know what he could have turned into once Devontae Adams and MVS and some of the other guys who took targets away from him were gone.
I feel like Jacoby Myers is Jarvis Landry. Like, yeah, he'll get you 70 catches.
God,
he'll get you 800 yards, but he is not going to get in the end zone.
You just described Juju Smith-Schuster. Your exact description is Juju Smith-Schuster's exact
I'm not
career.
sure I want either one of these guys, though. If you're re-signing Juju, case closed. I don't need another Juju or a worse Juju. I don't need another guy who is just going to work the middle of the field and not be
I wouldn't want Myers
of
Juju. This is just about if they couldn't get Juju.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want both.
I was going to say, I don't know anybody that's thinking they're getting both of these guys, right?
No, I don't.
Or two of the three?
No.
If you get Juju, both of these guys are off the radar, correct?
You get Juju, and you can still go draft a wide receiver. If you tell me Juju ends up signing somewhere else, and then they decide to sign Myers or
If you sign any of the
Lazard,
three of these, the other two are off the list, in my opinion. You're going to the draft. You go with Myers, you go with Lazard, you go with Juju, doesn't matter. You choose one of those guys, then you're going to the draft for the other receiver, not back to the free agent
let's
pool.
play out the hypothetical somehow where it ends up, and I think that's how it would go. But let's say Juju's back, and they brought in Allen Lazard. So then it's Kelsey, Juju, Lazard, MVS, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
It's a lot of bodies, but I don't know if
it is.
But then are you still drafting one? At that point, are you not drafting a wide receiver at all?
At that point, I don't think you'd be drafting a wide receiver. You'd be finding out what you have in Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney. I think you're going one guy in the free agency and one guy in the draft. Because the draft guy decides you want to bring him along slowly, or he immediately jumps over Sky Moore or Kadarius Toney, then so be it. But you just take your chances in the draft, at least for one. I think it's one free agent wide receiver. That's it. They're always going to be behind Travis Kelce.
Again, talking about that because Matthew Berry said he heard from a source that, quote, my nipples are hard for Allen Lazard. Did they think they're being clever rhyming, too? Is that what they were going for?
I don't know.
He said he asked them, are you sure that it's okay that I print this? And they said, yeah.
Well, it's anonymous anyway, right? I mean, we don't know who it is.
Correct.
I like to think it was Brett Veach.
Or Chris Ballard for the Colts.
Can you give me a Brett Veach impression, Cody?
You got one?
I don't think I have a Brett Veach impression. No, not off the top of my head. I'll work on it for you, though.
But you're afraid to do it?
No, I just don't think
You're
have
afraid
one.
it'll get back to him, and then he'll hate you?
I can't even think about how I would try to go about imitating his voice, I guess.
He's got a little higher pitched, maybe.
Well, that should fit in with me.
Yeah, you got that going for you.
That's a good start to the impression. Are you looking for a clip from Brett Veach?
Yeah, but I don't know if it's worth it.
We'll all work on an impression, and we can view him, at a date to be determined. Then the listeners can decide who does the best Brett Veach impression.
So that quote was obviously fantastic, but also there was a rumor from Rich Eisen yesterday that he's hearing that Phillip Rivers, Rivers, been coaching high school football down in Alabama, I think it is sniffing around returning to the NFL. That he reached out that he reached out late last season to the Dolphins, as a matter of fact, as one of the teams. That he was kind of maybe wanted to get back in the game a little bit, which would be absolutely incredible, and to me would have the Tampa Bay Bucks written all over.
Doesn't Phillip Rivers just scream South Beach?
Tampa. Go to Tampa instead.
In his cargo shorts.
Now, Tampa, he's retirement communities.
41 years old, and he last played in 2020. 4,100 yards, 24 touchdowns, 11 picks for the Indianapolis Colts. Lost in a playoff game, I believe.
Why would you sign Phillip Rivers?
He
at this
never
point?
missed a
what
game.
What purgatory
except for
are you trying to
rookie
put
season.
yourself in by bringing Phillip Rivers in?
There's no way that's actually happening, right?
Who would sign him? Who would sign him to start quarterback for them right now?
A team that has a quarterback that goes down during camp. That'd be it. Like, no, why would you sign him now? No. But a team that has somebody that goes down in camp.
Some team that has hopes and loses their quarterback before the season
starts. And they
missed
out on Jimmy G already and others.
I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, it had to be some version of that. Because if I'm Jimmy G, my best chance to start is to wait around and hope you're going to do that. Because what the other alternative is you're going to draft a quarterback, but you're going to hold him hostage for 1 year of Philip Rivers. Nah, man, you walked away, and it was already clear that it was time to walk away. That's not really the time to be like, you know what I'd like to do? Get back in the game. Philip Rivers should probably just sit this one out, right? Just not even try to come back into the NFL. I don't know. Although he is an entertaining figure, so I guess I would enjoy the 8 games he started for the Tampa Bay Bucks before they started some 4th-round rookie they just took.
The full context from Rich Eisen yesterday. The Dolphins were one of 2 quarterback-needy teams that were contacted. No, they didn't reach out to him. He contacted them.
He saw Tua go down with a concussion. He's like, I'm going to ring up the Dolphins.
For a return down the stretch. Eisen know the Niners, who were down to 7th-round pick Brock Purdy, were the other team. And that tells you also, I think, where Philip Rivers is at, that it's not something that would happen. It would be a mid-season training camp type of injury.
But that's the thing. I understand Purdy ended up performing really well, so maybe they had a better idea based practice. But wouldn't that have been the time he was calling you back?
Well, and you were
like,
having
it was
to reach out to
Skylar
them.
Thompson in Miami wouldn't give you a look. Who do you think is picking you up? They chose Skylar Thompson. Wasn't he like a 7th rounder out of K-State? Like, he was so far down the list. Look, and he performed fine considering what he was thrown into for Miami, but if they're not willing, and that's the problem, unless you are just like one of those elite guys, like if Tom Brady called Miami in the middle of last year, right? If he had retired and then was like, hey, I'd like to play. Or this year. Anybody's taking the call from Tom Brady, they're immediately bringing him in, and they're absolutely doing it. There's no question.
Rich Eisen hinted at that, by the way, too.
Wait,
now,
what?
There was some more context to it. Rich Eisen was like, that wasn't for, there was a quote circulating yesterday that Brady was still now like having second thoughts and all this kind of stuff that was coming out. And then Rich Eisen tried to clarify, and he claims it was taken out of context. But I was like, Tom Brady, you got to go away, man. You got to go away. Rich Eisen said, keep an eye on Tom Brady on retiring yesterday on the show.
Really? Oh, God. I don't want to do
he
that
said,
again. I thought we all agreed that he was done.
The actual quote is, this one just blew my mind. Tom Brady might not be done after all, Eisen said. A couple people were just like, hang on, just you wait. And I was like, he's Instagramming out pictures of his cat, but doesn't look like he's getting big and fat, does it? And just let it play out and see who wants what. He also had an AFC team may be interested. And, of course, he says, keep an eye out for Miami. He said, if the Dolphins somehow or some way get a doctor's report, a piece of information that Tua, cannot play, that would be the team to watch. So this thing out, I thought Tom was done.
I thought, well, and some of his teammates who did not say they thought he was done the first time definitely all made it sound like they thought he was done this time. So I guess I thought we were over this conversation.
Rich Eisen was all about just the rumors yesterday. That seemed like must have been a really good show yesterday for Rich. It's all about putting out
just
rumors.
Like one GM just feeding him 1,000 pieces of information. Would you at least be entertained by Philip Rivers' return to the NFL?
Of course I would be. Yeah.
All those years in the AFC West. You know what? The Raiders should sign him. Let's get him back in the AFC West.
I think the Raiders are going to sign Jimmy Garoppolo and then draft a quarterback.
Josh McDaniels going to go back to his old pal.
Jimmy G. Your guy.
Twice a year, we going to talk about
actually.
Jimmy G?
Both your guys. You love McDaniels and you love Jimmy Garoppolo.
What
does that do to your nipples?
I'll say this. We have spent
current status on your nipples?
But Jimmy G ends up here? Well, it's a lot of. We have, and the National Football League has spent and wasted too much time dissecting Jimmy Garoppolo's non-career. Okay.
You just dragged this man down. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about you and Jimmy
drag
Garoppolo.
Him down.
Jimmy Garoppolo, Super Bowl appearance, couple of NFC title games, and you act like he.
What, are we giving him last year's NFC title game? He wasn't even playing in it.
He's been in 2. It would have been his 3rd. That would have been his 3rd.
I mean, I wish we brought this same energy for.
Don't you? Don't you dare! Go ahead, make a comparison. Go ahead.
Wish we had the same energy for Tyrod Taylor this entire time,
Stop.
Okay.
Stop.
That's what I wish.
You just, man.
That's what I wish.
Yeah.
How many playoff games has Tyrod Taylor started in?
1? Didn't he start in 1? I don't know. Probably 1 or 0. Jimmy G started in 6?
At least.
At least?
Tyrod Taylor, he started in 1. It was in 2017.
Okay.
It was a 10-3 loss versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. He went 17 of 37, 134 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Again, the offense led by Tyrod Taylor scored 3 points in a playoff game.
Okay. Jimmy G has been in 6 playoff games.
More than 1.
More than Tyrod Taylor, but 6. 6. His team scored less than 20 half of those times. So.
So now we're just using our amateurs.
Yeah. That's what you just did.
Yeah, but my number
Here
was,
is
my
passing
number was
yardage.
3.
Here is passing yardage in those. You're making Tyrod Taylor's 30-yard performance. 121, 77, 219, 170, 131 again, and a miraculous 232
Cody,
in
you're
a
like
loss.
that Onion article. You're like the headline of that Onion. Man is very wrong, but very loud. So who's to tell? It's just the more wrong you are, the louder you shout whatever it is that you're saying.
All right, let's get to the trash.
Trash of the day.
Trash and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Man's like 38, and he's got like 10,000 career passing yards. I'm
He's
supposed
not
to care that he ever played in
38,
the NFL.
dude. You just now. Unbelievable how you are rewriting history on this man.
Oh, man. All right.
Man, there's 9 years in the NFL and a whole 10,000 passing yards. Good for you, man. I'm glad you got 1,000 a year.
While we're talking,
you really did it.
He wasn't starting for the first 4 or 5 years.
Well,
I wonder if that's just an accident. He's not starting now. Weird.
He was behind.
Constantly. Now he's starting behind Brock Purdy.
He got injured.
Did you guys see Albert Pujols' residence?
Yeah.
His estate is up for today.
If it's 10,000 square feet, you got to say estate.
It's definitely
you can't
an
say
estate.
house.
It's definitely an estate. He grew up in Independence, as we know, in the Independence area, and he's decided to sell his Kansas City area home, along with the sale, massive moving sale right now. So it's taking place from 9 to 4 today and tomorrow. There's some photos. There's all kinds of. There's basically just like when you're that rich, I guess you just like, we don't need to pack anything up. Just sell the house as is. I can go. I got a bunch of other houses.
I'll buy new stuff.
Other stuff.
You want to go?
We should. Items are all full price at 9 a.m. today. By 3 o'clock, they get discounted to 35%. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., everything's half off. And tomorrow at 3 o'clock, it gets discounted even more. So
we could go right after the show tomorrow.
No, after tomorrow. Yeah. See what's left.
So we're just sifting through the rubble, basically.
Yeah, but let's get something for the Cody and Gold garage sale from Albert Pujols' house. Maybe like a bowl?
I mean, they have
set of bowls?
$1,000 chairs so far at this
Okay, but
estate.
70% off. Now we're talking about a $300
We're going to get priced
chair.
out of that spot pretty easily.
There's got to be something that's, you know what? Every estate sale I've ever been to in my entire life has like a table full of old Christmas decoration. Everyone.
Do you think, Cody, for the garage sale, that we can be like, this is a really weird request, but like, can we just get something for like, Cody's just gonna want the toilet roll holder for $5, and it's Albert Pujols in his house. And
you think you're getting that?
I think we can get something for like $10-15 at the Albert Pujols sale if we go tomorrow after 3 p.m.
I'm not going, but you guys.
You're not gonna go.
You won't
No,
go?
I'm not. I'm not driving to Independence to go to Albert Pujols' estate sale.
No. The house is in Leawood. It's not far from
that's
you.
not far from you. That's
on my way home.
Yeah, it's really close. It's a further drive for Cody. It's out south by you and I. It's a little bit further.
It's that, or are we gonna send somebody? Maybe my grandpa
How many
will go for
people
us.
do
He
you think
lives
are
in
going to
Leawood.
show up?
Hundreds.
Thousands.
Yeah. Large number of people for 2 days.
God. Yeah.
It's a big estate.
There's a lot
You
of stuff for
think
sale.
Al will be there?
I do need some new
that's
patio
the
furniture
whole point
since
is somebody else to deal with it.
that tree went through my patio furniture, so I could use some new patio furniture. Maybe Albert Pujols is up there. Wait for that sale at 3 o'clock on Wednesday. You know, because if he's asking like $500 for it now, it could be like $100.
You're listening to Cody.
It also might be sold by the time we get there tomorrow. But yeah.
I'll take the chance. I'm not going to pay full price. Can't afford that. We've seen some of the price
It's
tags.
not an
on these
auction.
things.
It is set prices.
Yeah, but it's like every other estate sale. It's run by an estate sale company. I've been to these before. It's like the same company gets used all over Kansas City.
They live near there. Want me to get something for you?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Please do. Please
we want something for the garage sale. If it's less than $20, I'll Venmo you. I don't even really care what the item is. I just want it for the Cody and Gold garage sale, which will benefit the Negro League Baseball
to
Museum.
just say it was from Albert Pujols.
Yes, obviously.
That's it. I guess I'm saying like soap dispenser, whatever they're willing to offer for
set
under $20.
Set of kitchen bowls, whatever somebody's not using on that Wednesday at 3:00, they're looking to get rid of it anyway. A chair that's like $50, whatever, something like that.
You just want a chair?
Like a whole chair that used to be in Albert Pujols'
That chair
house.
will sit in this building forever if we get a chair.
No one's ever going to pick it up?
Yeah.
Something. We need something from that. That's the only way to legitimize even further going forward. You know, stuff from celebrities who, he's a Hall of Famer. That's something from a Hall of Famer's house. We're going to ask some of our, the people who appear on the show. Like last time we found out Danon moved and gave away a bunch of his stuff. And we could have gotten some from Danon Hughes' house. And we didn't secure it before we're not going to make that same mistake. We didn't secure it before the garage sale the last time.
All right, that's the trash of the day. Up next, we get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour and the 3 or 4 options between now and Monday the Chiefs have with Orlando Brown Jr.
The Super Bowl champions play here. 610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty Station.
Change your career in 4 months over at Centric because they're going to get you ready for that career in IT Gold that is a hot field and has 30,000 openings across the country, so it's a job that's desired.
Centric, Cody, has multiple ways to help you start your new career. Tons of financing options available, and of course, they accept the GI Bill as well. You mentioned IT for the future, cybersecurity, Amazon Web Services, and so much more. They've got great relationships with partners right here in Kansas City to help you find a job.
Yeah, their job is to get you a job. They're going to work through you. You're going to go through this program. You're going to have a new skill. It sucks to be in like one of those jobs where you're like, am I even learning anything? Is this going to help me in the future? Is this something people want to do? Like IT, there's always going to be IT jobs. And it doesn't really matter what field you want to work in. We have IT in sports radio. We have IT at, it doesn't matter the company, it doesn't matter the type of business. They all need IT. Every industry needs IT.
You got a job right now. You're like, well, how am I supposed to start a new career while I'm still working? Well, you can get a new career in as little as 4 months, and you can work around your schedule. They're going to create some time to make it work. Your schedule, day, evening, campus, online. Those are all options over at Centric.
We had a quick chat with our guy, Russ Mondry, over there. He's ready to take your calls, answer any questions you might have. You'd be like, well, does this fit or does this work? No problem. Russ Mondry's going to take care of that for you. All you have to do is go to centric.com and find out why a future in IT can be your future.
IT is the future of Kansas City. Let Centric make it your future.
If you own a small business, you know the value of time. GetRefunds.com does too. That's why they've made it easy, no matter how busy you are, to apply for the Employee Retention Credit, or ERC. Go to refunds.com to get started, and in less than 8 minutes, see if your business qualifies for ERC assistance. Your business may be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee kept on payroll during COVID-19. GetRefunds.com has already helped clients claim over $3 billion in payroll tax refunds through the ERC, and they may be able to help your business too. There's no upfront charge either. They don't get paid until your business gets its refund. Many businesses believe they won't qualify based on incomplete or outdated information. So don't let this opportunity pass you by, because this payroll tax refund is only available for a limited time. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
Hey, it's Clang. I'm obsessed with racking up fuel savers at Hy-Vee, so I got a great idea for you. Shop Hy-Vee on Monday, swipe your fuel saver card, and earn a fuel saver discount equal to the high temperature on Sunday and the amount you spend. Watch KCTV5 Sunday night at 10 for the official high temperature. Say it's 56 degrees on Sunday, I'll save 56 cents per gallon when I spend $56 on Monday. It's the heat up savings every Monday through March 27th, only at Hy-Vee.
Must use lookup code 80007. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
The best deals at the pump happen when you shop the aisles of Hy-Vee with help from Storm Track 5 Weather.
I'm morning meteorologist Greg Bennett. Watch KCTV5 Newton for our official high temperature.
Whatever it was on Sunday means you save on money with your Hy-Vee Fuel Saver Card. If the high was 63 degrees, you save 63 cents a gallon when you spend at least $63.
Make sure to watch Storm Track 5 Weather on KCTV5.
Angie's List is now Angie, And we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI. Download the app today.
3 people you should be 100% certain about. Your barber, your plumber, and your tax pro. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and you can be 100% certain about your taxes. We'll get you your maximum refund guaranteed and we'll back your return for life. Don't be kind of certain or almost certain. Be 100% certain. Switch to Jackson Hewitt today and get 50% off tax prep. Limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest?
We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cooked portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
It's like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
With Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, you can check if you're paying too much for home insurance, because giving you options is the right thing to do.
Oh, you mean like when I let someone with less groceries go ahead in line? Sure, there's a part of me that thinks, if you only need 3 things, maybe go to a convenience store next time. And now they're sifting through coupons and my frozen foods are about to be not frozen.
But still, it's the right thing to do. So compare rates with Home Quote Explorer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company of affiliates party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all state situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
There are so many reasons to get hooked on Church's 8-piece shrimp meal. It's still just $5.99. The only catch? It's only here for a limited time. Church's Texas Chicken. Welcome to the great state of flavor.
A chance of afternoon showers, cooler, high today 50.
Weather brought by Jackson Hewitt. With Jackson Hewitt, be 100% certain about your taxes and get 50% off tax prep. Limited time offer for new clients. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com. Here's a resolution for 2023. Stop listening to these dopes.
I'm telling you right now, as far as the West is concerned, I put the Chargers #1 right now.
I said that I don't believe that the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs.
And only listen to 610 Sports Radio.
You can doubt the Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs.
Congrats, Casey. 610 Sports Radio.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner, the Chiefs. 610 Sport.
All right, it is the Chiefs Red Half Hour. We'll get into another name that perhaps the Chiefs should actually be looking to trade for. The name came up last offseason, as a matter of fact, while we were, I think, at another pub doing our show from there from March Madness. We were just hanging out. We had a bunch of different guests stop by and all that. So we'll get to the name that once again is coming up, at least in Cody's mind.
You guys are just on to the next. The Chiefs bring you another Lombardi trophy, and all you can think about is who they should trade, who they should sign, who they should draft. How about just enjoying this moment?
Should we just replay Travis Kelce's parade speech every day instead of?
Yeah.
You know what?
Every day at 11:30.
Just play your favorite highlights. How about this? How about whatever happened, what was your favorite from the Super Bowl?
Uh-huh.
We just don't do that anymore, huh?
Is that what you would rather do?
Yeah, you know what? I think I would.
What was your favorite moment from the Super Bowl?
Hard to pick. I go with the Mahomes run.
to seal it.
That 26-yard scamper. You know what? I'm a boy. I'm proud of it. Stand to maybe learn a thing or two.
Good time to be a fanboy.
I would say so. I would say so.
Time.
Yeah, you're not really being a homer at this point. You'd be wrong most of the time if you were actually.
If you try to go the other way?
Yeah, like this guy. You'd be like the guy trying to be different.
Yeah. As evidence as national media. Going in the opposite side and be like, no, this is the year the Chiefs aren't going to be any good. It's not the best strategy. You know, the whole 14-3 regular season and then winning the Super Bowl part in a down year. Feels good. I'm glad that we got over this, Nick. But I'm still going to suggest that they trade for somebody in like 6 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the warning.
Meanwhile, the Chiefs have till Monday multiple options on what they can do with this Orlando Brown Jr. situation. We know they're not going to tag him by the deadline at 3 o'clock this afternoon. I still think option A, though, is finding a way to get a long-term deal done before Monday or on Monday.
But at fair price, right? You still stand in that
campaign? Go without saying. At this point, they
made that very clear.
I think that's the only situation now. I think it is, all right, we want to really put this thing to a real deadline now. Not, hey, we're going to tag you, and then technically we have till August or September to get a long-term deal. No, we want to get a long-term deal done with you, so let's make a real deal on Monday or by Monday. That's number one. And then the other part is we know the number you have. We got our number. We're not close. You think you can go get that? Maybe you can. We're willing to let it work. We're also going to, how badly do you want to stay in Kansas City and play with Patrick Mahomes and win another probably 2 or 3 rings? Or do you want to go get paid? Again, don't follow anybody for wanting to do that whatsoever. But you might the Chicago Bears and you might not be in the playoffs for another 4 years. You pick. So it's putting some pressure on him, and that's the route they're going. So option A is working out a long-term deal and getting, I still think there's a 25 today. I still think it's around 25% that the Chiefs get a long-term deal done with Orlando Brown Jr. That, to me, still is the option that you look at first.
I think that I'm up to about 15%. I think largely because now that you're getting more reporting from Sam McDowell and others, they are telling Orlando Brown Jr., go find more money. Prove it. Like, we're about to show you what the real world's like. Because they have exclusive negotiating rights all the way until next Monday when he becomes a free agent. And instead of that, they're saying, go see what's out there for you. While we're the only team who can technically offer you a contract for the next few days, because we want you to see what the real world's like out there. Like before, it's like parents with like teenagers. Something like, go see what it's really like. Oh, you think it's so bad being here? Oh, look at all of our rules. They're like, no. To have to go to a job and pay rent, take the stuff yourself, and do your own laundry and everything that comes in between it. And they're banking on the fact that when he goes and sees the options that are available to him, they're limited. And in fairness, 2 years ago, when Orlando Brown Jr. was available to the entire NFL, they were interested, and even less teams that were interested in him becoming a left tackle. And I don't think he spent a bunch of city making even more clear he's definitely a left tackle you want to pay a bunch of money to. He's a left tackle in the NFL. He can play left tackle. He did it for championship here in Kansas City. There's a reason why it works, but everybody also knows that he's not one of the best.
Right.
Everybody knows that everybody wants to be paid like that, and that's where teams are having a hard time making that leap.
And this happens all the time, though. Players end up getting overpaid in free agency because there's teams that have the cap space that we'll look at, and he's one of the best available free agent tackles in football if he opens up with the league year. And so somebody's going to pay him. Now, will he get Trent Williams' number, which is kind of what the talk has always been? Everybody's about to find that out. Or it's going to be closer to the Chiefs. I know there was some funny money involved in the deal the Chiefs reportedly offered last year, but it came out to an average of $23 million per year. I understand.
But it was, it wasn't phony. It was more like 18 or 19 per year, but yeah.
And they recognize that, and so we're gonna free agency is not a real option. Like in terms of what do you do after Orlando Brown Jr. walks?
To me, an option. It's just further down the list of if you go that way, I think you're looking at right tackle, not left tackle. You're just going straight free agency.
You are not finding a left tackle in free agency. People can Taylor the one. You think that's your best option? A guy that can't stay healthy, can't get on the field. If you want to tell me you want to draft somebody and then have Taylor Wan just as a sure and he's there for camp and and he's someone that maybe
because you don't have an answer.
Fine, but that you can't be like, oh, we'll just sign Taylor Lewan and be good to go. And I think the Chiefs are smart enough to realize that. But I just see that a lot from fans right now. Like, oh, Taylor Lewan's someone that we can just go out there and sign. Look at how many games that guy has played the last couple years. It's not pretty.
No, not a good amount. Just if you're talking about the available options, isn't the next best option in the draft? Isn't that always the next best option?
That's
rather than give up draft assets, unless it's Laramie Tunsil. Rather than give up draft assets and pay a guy a ton of money, like if you have to use draft assets, why not just trade up? Why not just trade up and find a left tackle? Like if you're going to give it to that, and then at the very least, you get to do the thing that you wanted to do before, Gold, which is have a cheap left tackle for a few years and go get your Tristan Wirfs. Because left tackles can be found at 15, 16, 17, 18. I know that we've touched largely, and I think there's a lot of people who want to do this nonsensical craziness where they're like, oh, you know what? You can find David Bakhtiari in the 4th. I'm like, yeah, you can also find Tom Brady in the 6th. That doesn't mean that's a good strategy. For the most part, starting quarterbacks are found in the 1st round. Starting left tackles are found in the round. Sure, you can find guys off the street like Wiley, but that should never be your plan. Your plan should be 1st-round offensive tackle. Because right now, if they don't sign Orlando Brown Jr. Gold, then their number one priority, without question in the draft, is now offensive tackle. Left or right.
No doubt. And maybe there's a name or two that gets cut between as well. We know teams are clearing cap space. I think it was Nate Taylor that brought up David Bakhtiari's name, as you just did too, but you were talking about a different context. He said, if Rodgers doesn't go back to the Packers, could the Packers just say, all right, we're just going to kind of blow this whole thing up? And that's had some injury history as well. He's extremely talented, won't be cheap either, but that would be playing really, really well before the injury. I actually do like their head coach, Robert Saleh. And in his case, he's got a lot to lose. I mean, if this thing falls apart for him this year, then there is a chance the way the NFL works.
It's just weird. Like, you could be 8-8. Matt Nagy really knows this better than anybody. If you have bad quarterback play and you just kind of float around
and I don't think
mediocrity.
I don't think you can downplay the fact that they're in New York. And the other team in New York, the Giants, are coming off a very good season. They feel like they got their right head coach. They feel like they're heading in the right direction. Yeah,
they might pay a quarterback.
We'll find out if Daniel Jones gets tagged by 3 o'clock this afternoon or if they get a long-term deal done. But the Giants are rising up. And so if you're a Jets fan and if you're the Jets organization, like, I do think that matters when you're in markets like that, have the competition in the same sport like that. You want to hit the headlines, you want to steal it, you go get Aaron Rodgers. They're talking about the Jets this offseason in New York more than they're talking about the Giants.
The Packers seem so desperate to me that I'd offer up whatever to get out of there. Like, I'm not out here trying to, like, win the trade, if that makes sense. I'll eat half the money. It could be a 3rd-round pick. Like, they want out of, don't they? Like, doesn't it seem obvious to everyone? I guess I want to, Nick, does it seem obvious to you right now that because I think, Gold, you agree, that the Packers want out of the Aaron Rodgers business? Like, they want out. They'd like to get out.
Yeah, but they're not going to give him up for nothing.
I understand, but, like, I think that they might. Like, I understand that they shouldn't want that.
I understand, but you don't?
No, I understand that you're thinking that way, and they're not. It's not that they're not going to get absolutely zero. But if they could cut Aaron Rodgers and it didn't cost them more than it cost to keep them, I think they'd be leaning towards that option. I don't think they want to be with Aaron Rodgers anymore. They want a breakup to occur.
So about all that, man.
They got to get the compensation that fits and what he's worth. However, I will say I do think long-term their best route is to move on from Aaron Rodgers based off of what that division is now starting to look like.
Start Jordan Love.
But the notion, like, I don't think get given away for nothing.
Get his mom some better seats. Whatever.
Sure, that can happen.
Like, I'm not saying they're going to give up a 7th-round pick, but I don't think you need to be greedy in this moment. If you want to offer up to take some of the salary on, the Packers are screwed this year. Because if they start Aaron Rodgers, it's their best chance, but I don't think they got enough surrounding it to really make it work. It's so last year. They can't really. It's not going to be a Super Bowl team to me unless Aaron Rodgers just has one of those, like, go-nuts years.
One thing I disagree with, if the the Rodgers conversation with the Jets go well and Rodgers makes up his mind and says, I want to be with the Jets, the Packers have all kinds of leverage at that point. The Jets, who else are you going to get in New York? Derek Carr's gone. There's no more, we'll just go sign Derek Carr. That was the thought everybody had.
If it's an exclusive franchise tag, you just wait one day and you find out, right?
That part's done, man. A little update from Adam Schefter. We were just talking about quarterbacks. Adam Schefter says contract talks between the Giants and Daniel Jones are, in the words of one source, going right down to the wire. Again, that wire would be deadline to tag him at 3 o'clock our time.
Which is going to determine whether Saquon Barkley is a free agent or not, based on all reporting, right? Because they want to tag him, but they can't tag him until they find out if they need to tag Daniel Jones first. I'm telling you right now, it's a huge mistake to pay Daniel Jones. I know teams don't like to hear that, and the same question to left tackle would be like, what are you going to do, man? But, damn, you better give yourself a whole lot of outs because you're not winning anything. You give Daniel Jones $200 million to be your quarterback.
Since we are just a little over 2 hours, 2.5 hours away from the tag deadline, I do think my favorite player that got tagged, though, real quick, is the Raiders just because of how dumb they are. Because they declined the 5th-year option on Josh Jacobs. You guys remember that before the season?
Yeah, I remember.
And guess who they franchise tagged? Josh Jacobs.
And guess what
it
cost them more?
$10 million? Like,
it would have cost less to just pick up his 5th-year option.
The dumbest move. Well, we don't believe in him. We're not gonna do the 5th-year option. Oh, we had a great year. We don't want to lose him. Franchise tag.
I love the Raiders.
Just so dumb. They're just so bad at their jobs all the time. It's great.
Okay, they're going to draft one of these physical specimens in the top 10 this year, right? They're going to draft Bijan Robinson or Anthony Richardson.
I'm going to pre-call whoever they draft a bust.
Anthony Richardson. Now, I didn't know Richardson would be the guy.
It's a bust. Whoever they draft, it's a bust.
Anthony Richardson in Las Vegas, yeah.
Well, you talking about a 6'4", 240?
Ran a 4.4?
Yeah. Las Vegas Raiders written all over. Can he throw a football? Remains to be seen, but the physical tools.
It's like, oh, man, but did you see he completely like passes the floor? You're like, that's a number. You're like, not important.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the NFL Combine, guys. The NFL Combine does not exist to show us who's good at football. The NFL Combine exists to show us who looks like they could be good at football.
But that's what's the best part about it is, as much as these guys know about football, they study it all the time, they see all the pitfalls, everyone could be like, hey, we have a large statistical analysis to say you should never, ever, ever take a running back in the top 10. They're like, And then some guy runs in shorts and like, he real fast. I think that looks like fun. Let's do it.
Did you guys see that broad jump?
Yeah, it's just
10'9".
They can't help themselves. All of a sudden, they're just like it's like the ice cream man jingle. It's like you're an adult man. You're like, I don't think I ever want ice cream. And then he's going down the road. It's like ding ding, and you're like, I think I might want a bum pop.
I think
we're back in.
The good GMs in that situation would say we just had ice cream and we haven't eaten dinner and it'll ruin our appetite. But the Raiders are like, no, but I want one. Like the combine is supposed to just be a part of it. For the Raiders, it's everything.
I guess they fit Las Vegas then. I guess like the gambling all-in mentality and not worrying about anything else and the consequences. I guess they're the perfect franchise to be housed in Las Vegas after all.
Like they like ran out there like, they lost $500. Josh Jacobs. They went back in. They placed $500 again. They're like, we're even. Problem solved. Let's bet $500 again. You're like, no. You just got even in making a bad decision, and now you're back in? Terrible. Everyone's gone to a friend like that in Vegas. Stop it. Stop trying to chase it. It's not a good idea.
All right, coming up next, the biggest remaining offseason questions I think are pretty clear for the Chiefs, but what order are we putting those in? And another random question of the day.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
BetMGM is giving soccer fans a chance to go for the goal this season. Just place a one-game parlay wager with 4 legs or a minimum plus 400 odds on any English Premier League game. If all the legs of the parlay hit but one, you'll receive up to $25 back in bonus bets. This offer is available all season long. Just log in to your account or download the BetMGM app and sign up today. Get on the field and turn game time into showtime with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Kansas only. New and existing customers offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued at non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Catch all the tournament action this year over at The Other Place with 3 great Kansas City locations. The Other Place is a one-of-a-kind game day experience. Beers and enough television that every buzzer beater small place. Shawnee, Olathe, and down Overland Park.
Hey, it's Kling. I'm obsessed with racking up fuel savers at Hy-Vee, so a great idea for you. Fuel Saver card and earn a Fuel Saver discount equal to the high temperature on Sunday and the amount you watch KCTV5 Sunday night at 10 for the official high temperature. Say it's 56 degrees on Sunday, I'll save 56 cents per gallon when I spend $56 on Monday. It's the heat up savings every day through March 27th, only at Hy-Vee.
Must use lookup code 80007. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
The best deals at the pump happen when you shop the aisles of Hy-Vee with help from Storm Track 5 Weather.
I'm morning meteorologist Greg. TV5 News Sunday night at 10 for our official high temperature.
Whatever it was on Sunday means you with your high fuel card.
Make sure to watch Storm Track 5 weather on KCTV5.
Hello, Madame Dupree. I'm here for my fortune.
Crystal ball. I see financial stability.
Nice.
If you switch to T-Mobile, because you can get their product guarantee, so they won't raise your rate for talk, text, or data ever.
Wow, ever? Verizon and AT&T don't have that.
And I see a free Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus and required.
No trade-in? Hey, wait a sec. Do you also work at T-Mobile?
Well,
the Galaxy S23 Plus at T-Mobile, free on our Max plan when you no trade-in required. Plus, you get our price lock guarantee, so we won't raise your rate for talk, text, or data ever.
With eligible board-in, $800 via 24 monthly bill credits and $200 virtual prepaid card rebate, plus tax for well-qualified buyers. Contact us before canceling service to continue remaining bill credits or credits stop and balance on required finance agreement is due. Register prepaid card code within 30 days or weeks. Price lock excludes like taxes, fees, select promos, and third-party services apply. Details at T-Mobile.com.
A championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, Head Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay Guaranteed Fit. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
O'Reilly. Don't risk getting stranded with a bad battery. Let the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts test your battery for free. If it needs to be replaced, get up to a $15 O'Reilly gift card after rebate with purchase of select Superstart batteries. Power, performance, and reliability. Choose Superstart batteries at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Do you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes? Good news. There's a new way out. It's called the Alternative. Call U.S. Tax Shield. A+ rated with the BBB. 800-391-5063 for your free consultation. And let U.S. Tax Shield protect you from the IRS.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by American Eagle to take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing into our appliances, HVAC, and both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script said.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match. Only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Technicians trust with your house keys.
At Anthony, we get the job done right the first time. That's why you know us as the technicians you can trust with your house keys. It's the final month to receive a furnace for free when you purchase a new AC. Schedule online today at anthonyphce.com.
After 12:30, it's Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Nick Schwartz. We'll get to random questions of the day. Show we mentioned that Rich Eisen was he's hearing that Tom Brady may not be done after all. Folks are saying keep an eye on Miami. Tom Brady's official Twitter account just within the last 3 minutes or so quote tweeted said, "Anyone who thinks I have time to come back to the NFL has never adopted a 2-month kid for their daughter." Social media game.
Be time-consuming, if we're being honest.
Never had cats. Always more of a dog.
You remember what having a puppy's like?
Yeah,
huge pain in the ass.
It is absolutely
very time-consuming.
But here's the thing, Cody. I didn't have access to unlimited funds, essentially, to have someone watch.
That's not how life works, man. He's trying to be present. He's trying to be a father. You ever heard of it?
Gold's making this look like he's trying to make up for lost time, dude. He's been 25 years.
Pretty rich for the guy that for the last, 25, 30 years has been what led potentially.
But you don't think people can show
providing,
growth?
Trying to make changes. He's looking in the mirror. It's looking back at him.
Well, he's gotten plastic surgery to fix some of that.
I know.
Yeah.
He goes, I messed up. I shouldn't have had so many surgeries.
Ruby has officially reached the age that she started to ask for a sister. She's like, I'd like a baby sister. I'm like, well, that ain't happening. So,
well, you can get the procedure first, right?
No, we're not doing any of that. There's no sisters. You're out.
Aren't you supposed
You
to
get that one brother.
You can get unsnipped.
We're not
They snip
doing
it. They unsnip
medical
it.
procedures.
No big deal.
Just because my 6-year-old daughter has decided she wants a baby sister. She's got 78 cousins. Be friends with them.
Just adopt a baby sister.
Just adopt a baby?
Yeah.
Just want to adopt a baby?
No big deal.
No, I don't think
Who
so.
do you think you are?
With the massive salary, there's no problem. You can support another kid.
Depriving your daughter.
She has a sibling.
She
Not an
doesn't
only
want a
child.
brother. She wants a sister.
That's been made very clear.
That's your problem. You're not listening to her needs.
Her needs? Her
Yes.
need is that she needs a baby sister?
That's what she wants. Don't you want to give your daughter and your kids the world?
Yeah. You know that look on your... that feeling...
Gotta draw a line
you know
somewhere.
that feeling on Christmas morning when, your daughter and your son, they open up the wrapping paper.
It's a puppy ear.
And then doesn't that just warm your heart? Don't you
Yeah, I
want
do love
that?
that.
Don't you want that again? But in a much more long term,
Way more
Expensive.
committal, far more expensive.
Yeah.
Way more
Come
serious
on.
way.
Come on, it'll be good content for the show too. If you yeah.
Now, what has your response been if you just said, you got to talk to your mother about that?
I
Is
just
that
tell
what you
her.
say?
I just tell
you
her
got to talk
it's-
to your mom about that.
So the first thing I tried to say is, hey, sorry, that's not going to happen. But you've got a lot of friends. They can be like your sister. And she said, no, those are my friends.
Yeah,
she's just like, that's not
She
going
knows
to
the
work.
difference. There's nothing like that brother and sister bond that you're trying to create something that doesn't exist.
So, Gold, I have a sister. You have multiple sisters.
I have 3 sisters.
Ruby is the only one in this equation that doesn't have a sister.
My wife has a sister.
Yeah, your son has a sister.
They all have sisters.
Are you starting to see the equation? It's not fair.
Someone says on the text line,
I'm not doing this.
March Madness is coming up. No better time to have these surgeries done. Usually there's always
That's
stories
true.
that come out. First couple days of March Madness in the tournament next week, a lot of men have the procedures taken care of then. Now you're saying you've already accomplished that, but they can do a reversal. Reversal.
We're not doing this. We're not. It's not happening.
I don't know. I think it's starting to pick up steam. I think there's a higher likelihood of it happening now than there was before we started
before
talking
there was
about
a 0.0 and now there's a 0.1, I think.
Yeah. There's movement.
Progress each day. We'll bring this back up every day. We're trying. Your daughter will appreciate us.
I'm glad we didn't. She's not on the show this
I hope
week.
she's
She
in the
was
car.
around the
I hope
draft.
she's in the car right now listening.
She's at school.
The next time daughter comes in studio, I'm going to say, I hear you want to her.
You're trying to encourage
and
this?
I'm going to say, have you talked to your dad about it?
Jess fills in and has 2 sisters. So pretty much everyone associated with this show.
Man, the writing is on the wall.
Have you talked to Desmond? Like, do you want a brother?
Desmond seems indifferent.
Okay.
He's not requested a brother.
Mm-hmm.
He seems very content with the one sibling he has.
Smart. Smart.
He's made no conversation one way or the other. I think part of it is that Ruby is very interested in babies at the moment. She just she thinks they're cool. She likes being around them or like trying to hold, she's just interested. She's like, what? And she much prefer, she has both like a male and a female too. Much prefer, like all of her friends at school are only girls. Like, so really her issue is she wants to be best friends with a girl, but then also lives in her house all the time. Is how much work babies are. So I don't think we're going to concede on this one. No, either you could have a kid and your kid could just come over sometimes. How about that?
Well, Nick's closer to that.
Get on it, Nick.
Nick's closer to that path.
I don't know if you both are having sex with someone, so you're both equally likely to have a child.
Well, personally, I believe premarital sex is a sin, and I'd prefer not to spend eternity in hell.
Wow.
Rotting away. So I'm gonna hold off on that for now.
So you think I'm going to hell?
Well, I want to go to heaven. Sit next to Jesus.
The way you describe it is like you're like a love seat. You just sit next to each other, enjoying each other's company.
Oh, man.
Maybe she just have another friend that we could call her sister,
Mm-hmm.
Like how people, like when their friend group call them like Uncle Nick, that kind of thing.
And nobody does that to me. I've always found that weird. I'm not your uncle. I'm the uncle to my nieces and nephews, not the uncle to my high school buddy's 5-year-old. They don't, though.
But it's happened.
That's probably their choice.
Not to me.
That's French choice. They're
maybe
determined the level of trust they want you to have around you,
it's
and it's
happened
less.
before, yeah. And the parents will be like,
That's
not your
not
uncle.
him.
That's not your uncle.
That's not your uncle. We're at that certain.
Just call him. They're like,
Text
call him
line's
short.
Text line's also got a solution for Cody. They suggest just get your daughter an American Girl doll. Just make that happen. Go do that.
You think that's when she's just going to accept an American Girl doll?
An American Girl doll. That's the text line. Everybody watched SNL. That's why it's fresh on everybody's mind. That's what they're suggesting.
She has dolls.
But does she have an American Girl doll?
That's true.
She
does
does not. No,
she doesn't
she does
have
not.
that.
Those things are like $200.
Do you not want to give your
Okay, how much is a baby?
Way more than that. Oh, God, so much more.
Someone says apparently the B in Cody B tab stands for bad parent.
Bad parent?
Wow. Okay. We'll get to the random question of the day, even though that was
I guess we'll all just have like 90 kids, like the Tapp family.
I was say you're a sibling of how many again?
I have 6 brothers and sisters and 2 stepbrothers. So
Strong genes.
9. Yeah. She legitimately has like 20 cousins. Can't she just be close with one of them?
Well, that seems like that comes down to you.
She takes dance with one of them right now. Problem solved. Boom.
That helps.
We're done. I'm out.
We're done. The Chiefs certainly have a lot of questions to answer before they're done this offseason, and the biggest one remaining at the top of the list still is going to be what happens on Monday with Orlando Brown Jr., and do they get a long-term deal done? But after that, I thought, Chris Jones would be right there, and I think he is a priority, but it sounds like the Chiefs really aren't that worried. Bob Fesco this morning on his show was reporting that he's hearing that the Chiefs are going to work on that after the draft, that basically don't expect the deal to get done with Chris Jones.
Yeah, they're going to deal with
the draft.
other problems and then deal with that.
So I guess nobody should panic if we're sitting here in the middle of April and they don't have a long-term deal done with Chris Jones. Number one, he's under contract still, so that's the first reason for it. That's why they're able to wait till after the draft. So if that's after the draft, then isn't number 2 after Orlando Brown Jr. Juju Smith-Schuster? And if not, you can make an argument that he might even be potentially at the same level as Orlando Brown Jr. based off of not wanting him to test the free agent market the way that they're going to let Orlando Brown Jr. do so. Where Juju Smith-Schuster, Fowler report that the Chiefs get something done before free agency opens up. They don't want to lose Juju Smith-Schuster.
I would say the way the Chiefs are acting makes it seem like that is at the top of their to-do list for the rest of the season. But I think I could make a strong argument that deciding on what you're going to do on Patrick Mahomes' money is actually priority 1. Because that is going to determine everything else from here on out. Like, that determines how this Orlando Brown Jr. contract works. This determines how much you want to give Chris Jones this year versus any, or if the contract's going to work out with him too. We can't just assume contracts are going to happen. I assume Brown Jr. and then didn't. But it's Juju, or like we talked about earlier with Lazard, or whoever they're thinking about signing, deciding how much of that Patrick Mahomes money you would like to convert or move around determines the amount of money you can spend. Now, here's the good news. If you just chose to move that Mahomes money, just decide flat out right now, let's do it.
Yeah, just convert the...
If you don't spend it all, just roll it over. The Chiefs have the least amount of rollover cap space this year because they have the least amount of rollover cap space every year. If for some reason you didn't spend it, say you didn't $7 million, you ended up moving that cap money around on, you can save it. The NFL allows you to do that. You can take excess cap money and you can move it in next year. So I don't see any reason why you're not thinking about converting that now. You got the free year last year.
I'm sure they are.
You got the free year. Like, it seems to me that should be at the top of your priority list. And, especially now for defensive end because Frank Clark is gone. But the Chris Jones deal, we can feel very good about that getting done. That feels kind of a back burner thing. And then everyone else feels like the Snead contract extension possibly. That feels like a back burner problem. Backup quarterback, back burner problem. There are plenty to deal with before they get to all these small things.
And none of it can get really entirely cleared up until they know if they're going to be signing Orlando Brown Jr. to a long-term deal, which I also think is part of the reason. Not only do they not want the $20 million franchise tag number by the deadline today, and it's not going to happen.
Because they know it would be way less to get an extension for this year.
It's not just that they didn't want that number on the book immediately. They didn't want it on the books, but also I think they wanted some clarity here. And by having a deadline really of Monday now to get a long-term deal done with Orlando Brown Jr., like you can actually do all these other things, Cody, we're talking about, one way or the other. You're going to have your answer on what you can feasibly do because either he's going to be a free agent and sign somewhere else and get a huge deal, or he's going to realize maybe the market's not what he thought and he can actually get the number.
Because they're allowing him to have these conversations with teams, which obviously they're going to take advantage of, do we assume that if they get to Monday and he's not a Chief, he's not going to be a Chief? Like because he's currently negotiating. When free agency opens, if they get to the league year and he's not a Chief, any chance he returns as a Kansas City Chief?
No, because as we know, the league year, is the 15th, but 24, 48 hours before, deals are already kind of in place, tampering or not.
Especially for a guy of his level. Well, it's not even tampering because the Chiefs are openly giving these teams permission.
But in general, we hear about deals. Tuesday at morning would be the latest I would ever say there's still a chance.
Because Orlando Brown Jr. is definitively in the first wave of free agents.
Yeah, he might be the first 3-4 guys signed, Cody.
Yeah, he's coming off the board quick. He's not going to be this B-level guy who we talk about Wednesday, getting a pretty good contract, but not the biggest, incentive-laden deal, whatever. He's coming off the board quick. If someone's signing him to a bigger contract than Kansas City's offering right now, that's going to go down. It seems to me that there is still, like you've said, because technically, now that they've not franchise tagged him, there both is a deadline and not a deadline at all. Because the deadline is next Monday. But they're allowing all these other teams to negotiate with him, so that kind of eliminates the deadline. Except we know that once free agency opens, he's not going to last very long. So even if the deadline's not Monday, is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Do we really think – for the Chiefs, I still think it's beginning of next week. They don't get this done by the time he's an exclusive free agent, then he's going to end up somewhere else. And then they're going to have to figure out left tackle. How quickly that shoots up the list, by the way, if Orlando Brown doesn't get done.
A lot of people have been asking, could the Chiefs tag anybody else? I mean, can they? Sure, but they're not going to. Juju's tag number would be like 19 million, so they weren't willing to have the two.
They're not going to tag Juan Thorne. He'll be like 10 or 11.
There's no reason to tag anybody else.
Like, who else? I mean, it's like, who else you can have the conversation with? You don't want to pay the price tag for anybody else they could tag. Let's put it that way. Like, they're not going to tag Colin Saunders as the defensive tackle number. They're just, it's not that they don't want to bring some of these guys back. It's just, it's not feasible for anybody in Orlando Jr. And to be clear, I think the reason why they're not tagging him is they want way more financial flexibility than that. $22 million, if for some reason you tag him and don't get a long-term deal done, you're just stuck with that number. And if you're the Chiefs, that's the worst situation.
All right, let's get to it.
Random question.
For you, Nick, over the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7610. Of course, the random question of the day brought to you by the window source of Kansas City. So I'll ask you this, since we were talking about my daughter and has requested that I attend her next field trip. I just want to know what her favorite field trip was growing up. So 913-586-7610. She got a field trip to the zoo coming up. She has requested that I attend. I told you guys I'll be gone that day because I am going to go. I don't know if I'm not like in charge of kids. Am I? What's the rule on that?
Are you signing up?
I didn't chaperone. I just said I'd attend. It didn't say chaperone. It did not say the word
you just
chaperone.
think you're another one of the kids.
I would just like to show up and not be responsible for anyone but my kid. But you're saying I'm going to be responsible for a small group of kids?
I'm thinking so. Usually if the parents go on the field trip,
they're not just
hanging out with their kid the whole
you
time.
go home.
I'm guessing, you're going to be helping out the teachers, just kind of round up the kids a little
you
bit.
Think I'll get like a group of 3 or 4 of them that I'm in charge of?
Maybe a little bit, or just help.
Good.
As far as my favorite field trip, so obviously we did the zoo stuff as a kid, growing up in the area. Did the
Exchange
Nelson.
City is still right at the top of my list.
Exchange City?
Do you guys ever do that?
What's Exchange City?
I don't know what the Overland Park equivalent is.
Yeah,
but
we had one in Germany.
You show up and everybody's like essentially in charge of town. Someone's a mayor, someone's a cop. There's like a whole economic system. You're there the entire day.
Like Old Shawnee Town or whatever.
I thought you were talking about like pen pals. Either way, it's not.
Not pen pals.
Okay.
It's not pen pals. Do they not have this kind of
Well, we
version?
did Exchange City. I don't know. No, I don't know what you're talking about then.
It probably was like Kaleidoscope or
Dude,
something
what about
as a kid.
Science City?
I don't know if I don't think we did a Science City one, or I don't know.
Anybody go to like Steamboat Arabia?
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, that was boring.
I never did that one.
That thing's leaving.
You just said that one's boring.
When you're 12 years old and you're learning about this steamboat that they pulled up from the river.
Yeah, that thing's moving.
We did go on a field trip to watch the movie Titanic in middle school.
Oh, man.
And they showed boob in that, so that was probably a big deal for me.
What? Did you just say boob singular?
I was trying to make it sound like how I probably would have reacted to it in middle school.
By the way, I have my answer. Worlds of Fun. Duh. We went to Worlds of Fun.
That was so good.
That was still peak?
Yeah.
So we did that one year. It was like 8th grade. We went Tuesday, and there was nobody there, and we would just ride the Mamba over and over and over again. No lines.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Going to Worlds of Fun when there's nobody else there is a little kid's fantasy.
I'm afraid I do not have an update for you guys yet on this NBC Singer, but I'm still working that angle for our ability for our show to be out there. So you think that's it? Just Worlds of Fun? No other competitors?
That was one of the better field trips that we went on.
The zoo's always strong. Everybody likes going to the zoo.
We went to the zoo. Kaleidoscope.
Oh, Kaleidoscope, man. We went to. My parents used to drop me off at Kaleidoscope in the summer.
I don't know what that is.
A lot. Well, essentially, it's like
by Crown Center or whatever.
Yeah, and when I was a kid, parents weren't allowed in it. So essentially, for my parents,
that's how it is with Legoland, right? Unless you were the kid, you're not allowed into like the Legoland.
Yeah, but like in Kaleidoscope, it's not even just that. The parents weren't allowed in it. It was all teacher driven. So for my parents, it's essentially like free daycare. You dropped them off at Kaleidoscope, you could look behind a painted glass, but you were not allowed to be in there with them. So it's like, well, I'm gonna drop my kid off and guess I got 2 hours.
There's
to
a
be
bunch
free.
of different like
it's not that way anymore.
Hands-on like interactive things you could. I don't know.
You can like make crayon paint that like glows neon, or you make. There was at the puzzle machine.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there.
They have like the thing with the glove and like you reach into this like container and they feel different like I don't know, like rocks and things like that.
I think we went to Science City once. So, I mean, that would have probably been semi up there.
So a lot of people saying school day at the K. Our school district, we never did that, but obviously school day. It's
that.
Cody's favorite day to go to the Kauffman Stadium.
It's a tough day, man.
There's some museum down in Hutchinson. It's like the Space Museum or something. Cosmosphere. Went to that.
Yeah, I've been there before.
Went to the Amelia Earhart Museum.
Where's that one at?
I don't know.
That sounds like you were also bored by that.
That's not Atchison, is it?
It might have been. That's her hometown.
Well, then it's Atchison.
I don't remember.
That's got to be it then.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay.
There's a lot of people
honestly, man,
City.
any excuse to get on a school bus
get the hell
and not be in a classroom was just awesome.
My
like in Topeka, we had the Kansas History Museum. You think that was fun? No, but we loved it because it wasn't school.
Yeah.
I don't remember like which. I think maybe it was like sophomore year PE class at our school. They always drove us on Fridays. The PE class was always the bowling alley. So you got on the bus, you'd go over, you'd bowl like 8 frames, and then come back. You could never get through a full. You could never get through a full round. It was never enough time. You spent too much time on the bus or waiting in the concession stand because it was like your chance to get like French fries or something on a not Friday or whatever the hell it was, you know?
Oh, dude, somebody brings this up. They had this in Topeka as well. It was like a traveling exhibit, The Treasures of the Tsar.
What?
It was like
I don't remember that.
It was like Russian oligarchs. It was like all of their jewels and their crowns and their necklaces and stuff like that.
Is that still a thing?
No.
Okay.
No, but it was there for a while. You know, when you grow up at Topeka, you got to take what you can get. You know, beggars. We did go to see a lot of like, classical like plays and stuff at the Topeka Performing Arts Center.
TPAC.
And I remember teachers would get mad at you for falling asleep. I would, which is what I would commonly do.
Wait, that's why you liked it? You just took naps?
So I had a really hard time throughout high school of staying awake in class, like perpetually.
Was it all the weed?
No, it was just being tired. And we would go to this composer, and I'm passing out because it's boring. I'm 13, and we're watching the Nutcracker. Like, I'm not interested. And the teacher would be like snapping their fingers like, Nick, pay attention. I'm like, why do you care? You got us here. We're sitting here. I'm quiet, minding my own business. But that was field trips, man. They were just looking to get you out of the class for a day.
Do you think teachers like field trips? Because it feels like, I feel like they got it. Because like as a kid, it's like free day, right?
No.
I think teachers like putting on
They
like
gotta deal with all that BS, all these kids who are hyped up, running around.
You gotta like
acting
organize.
out.
Yeah, it's way harder. I told you that one time at the zoo, the kid fell into the seal pit on the field trip. You can't be dealing with this stuff. It's way too much work. By the way, if somebody's falling into the seal pit on this, I can't let that happen in my group.
So maybe you were. Maybe someone wants to know if Nick, your 13-year-old Nick, was snoring during the play. Maybe that's why.
Could have been. Could have been. It's tough to tell.
That's the random question of the day.
Cody, you're always so random.
You are going to have to work on that field trip, man. I got bad news for you. Man. Yeah, do something as a parent. You won't give your
I was like, hang out with my kid. You know, we'll just
you thought that you were just going there to chill?
It doesn't say chaperone. It just says if you'd like to attend. It made it sound way more casual in the permission slip, you know?
And you said, yes, I would like to attend. And so now you're gonna miss this show. So you said, honey,
so I can spend time with my family.
You said, I can't give my daughter. You said my daughter wants a sibling.
Can't give her a sibling.
So I'll take you to
to
the zoo instead.
She said, will you come on the field trip? I got to say yes to that because I can't be saying yes to a kid.
Yeah, just say yes to everything else. That's what she's playing you.
Smart,
she knows.
really smart, actually.
I don't even really want a daughter, but I'm going to use it as leverage.
Yeah, if she asked for a sister again today, but then was like, "Hey, can we get a Happy Meal?" I'd be like, "Yeah, sounds good. Happy Meal."
She
You
does
can do
have
that?
you. She does
Fine.
have you.
Just as long as it means I don't have to have a third kid, we're in.
Yeah, the second you say no, she'll say, well, then I guess maybe I could just have another sister. And you say, fine, okay.
You win. Let's go do this other
Doubling
thing.
back to McDonald's.
All right, coming up next, we'll get to the 1 o'clock hour. We'll be 2 hours away from the franchise tag deadline, and the Chiefs reportedly have interest in one particular wide receiver, and it had GM saying some weird things. Next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold.
He's so good, and everyone knows it.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Change your career in just 4 months. Changing your life can honestly be that easy.
Just 4 months, and you could have a new career in IT. Think about a number of different areas that go under the IT umbrella: cybersecurity, Amazon Web Services, and so much more.
Their job is to get you a job. They're going to do anything they can to help you start that new career. I've been in dead-end jobs. It sucks. All you do is sit around thinking about how you want to leave that job every day. Don't do that to yourself.
I think we recognize IT is the future, so make it your future as well. Chance for better hours, better pay. That's probably something that most of you listening would love to have, and a career you're going to be proud of.
Go to Centric.com/610 to see what they can do for you. Our guy, Russ Mondry, he's going to walk you through everything, make it easy to see your future in IT.
Did you know there's 30,000 open IT jobs across the country, and Centric has multiple ways to help you start your new career with tons of financing options available, and of course they accept the GI Bill as well.
Change your career in 4 months. Go to Centric.com/610.
Wendy's home-style French toast sticks are so delicious, some are saying that they're better than their mom's breakfast.
Excuse me, did you just say Wendy's French toast sticks are better than my breakfast?
Mom, is that you?
Answer the question.
I said some people are saying that because they're so crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside and perfect in every way.
Uh-huh. And what do you think?
I think it's time to tell people to choose wisely. Choose Wendy's sweet and crispy home-style French toast sticks.
That's still not an answer.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What really stands out about Shane Company is the vibe here. It's fun and welcoming. Hey there, I'm a Shane Company jewelry consultant, and my team and I will work together to make sure you have the best experience possible. We want you to feel at ease. It's a family business, and we'll treat you like family. We'll do whatever it takes to help you find what you're looking for and respect your budget. There are a lot of great things we offer at Shane Company that other jewelers don't, like the largest selection of styles in every price range and endless options to personalize your jewelry. Did you know you can create a necklace or ring starting with one of the beautiful gemstones and then watch our master jewelers at work? That's right. There's a jeweler workshop here in our store. That means you can see firsthand the craftsmanship and attention to detail they put into everything they do. If you've never been here, visit us today and see what we have to offer. It's more than fine jewelry. It's a really fun time.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and Shaneco.com.
Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident? You need Jay's Southland Tow Service. They have 20 years of experience and service the KC metro area. They specialize in light, medium, and heavy duty, also in commercial transport and construction equipment. Keep this number handy, 816-779-4TOW, or go to southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted by most local police departments, Jay's Southland Tow. There's nothing they can't do, so be in the know and use Jay's Southland Tow.
I'm Brad. I've been with Overhead Door Company of Kansas City for almost 20 years. What we see a lot of in the wintertime is customers sliding into their doors because of icy conditions in their driveway. So hit doors, broken springs, doors stuck to the ground due to ice, bottom rubber ripped off, things like that.
Cold weather wins every time, but we'll get you prepared. Overhead Door Company of Kansas City since 1927. OverheadDoorKC.com.
3 people you should be 100% certain about. Your barber, your plumber, and your tax pro. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and you can be 100% certain about your taxes. We'll get you your maximum refund guaranteed and we'll back your return for life. Don't be kind of certain or almost certain. Be 100% certain. Switch to Jackson Hewitt today and get 50% off tax prep. Limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customer, Michelle.
As an entrepreneur, every day is different. My phone bill from Cricket, on the other hand, always stays the same. Without surprises, hidden fees, or annual contracts, I can work worry-free.
That's Michelle, everybody, doing business like a boss. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customer paid for testimonial. See cricketwireless.com for details.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. Your home for Royals baseball in Kansas City.
A little bit high, throw down, and it's wide, and Bobby has 30 steals in his rookie season.
610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
One o'clock hour, Cody and Gold hanging out on a Tuesday. I thought it was supposed to rain, but it looks like actually really nice outside. I don't know if it's actually temperature-wise that, but it's going to rain the rest of the week, something like that. Big 12 tournament gets going tomorrow night, downtown Kansas City at T-Mobile Center. KU K-State will not play until Thursday. KU Thursday afternoon, K-State Thursday night. Obviously, Missouri double buying the SEC tournament. We'll talk more college basketball later on in the week as we get closer to that, and a lot of line movement could happen in terms of seeding. Based off of the results for each of the 3 local schools. But the deadline for franchise tag in the NFL is 2 hours away, and then free agency opens up next week. And someone we've had on this show, Matthew Berry, over at NBC Sports, he joined us actually from Phoenix on Radio Row. We're talking about Allen Lazard, wide receiver, unrestricted free agent for the Green Bay Packers. Played 4 seasons with the Packers. He played with MVS. And, of course, MVS now with the Kansas City Chiefs. And this is a quote from the column from Matthew Berry. I'm not making this up. This is how the column starts. Quote, "My nipples are hard for Allen Lazard."
All right, say it slower.
My source goes on to explain that
kind of like whisper it.
That was a phrase he heard about Lazard, one of the top free agent wide receivers this year in a fairly thin class. I heard both the Ravens and Chiefs really like Lazard. My sense is that Lazard returning to Green Bay is not out of the question, but an unlikely outcome. So I don't know who the source is. I would like to think it's a general manager, but their source heard it throughout their time in the last week or so that somebody's nipples are hard for Allen Lazard. And it rhymes too.
Which helps.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to make it very clear. This show will be producing a shirt that says that if he signs in Kansas City. It'll come out that day.
Even if it's not true?
Yeah.
We need to make it a very sheer
No, we can have it
shirt.
ready. We need to have it.
a very thin material.
Like so uncomfortably soft. We want to be able to see how hard everyone's nipples are for Allen Lazard. Is that right?
Exactly.
I mean, that we do need to have them ready just in case. Look, Allen Lazard, if you tell me Juju Smith-Schuster's not an option, he would be my next choice as a free agent wide receiver path. I prefer Juju Smith-Schuster coming back on a multi-year deal
we all would.
in Kansas City. But if he's not, I really would prefer Allen Lazard over some of the other options in a very, very thin wide receiver market. I go back to how they approached this past offseason, where it was clear they wanted to get more physical at wide receiver, guys that could help them block. They did that with Juju. They did that with MVS. Mission accomplished in that regard. Allen Lazard definitely fits that bill as well and will replace Juju in that fashion. That's what is intriguing about Allen Lazard. Now, but I would for some of the other options in a very, very thin wide receiver class.
I've really talked myself into if I'm down to option B, which is I consider anything after Juju Smith-Schuster because there aren't that many free agent wide receivers available. I think I'd much prefer Jacoby Myers. I guess I'm interested in the argument for Lazard over Myers because one guy has been more productive in what has been a worse offense.
Yeah, Lazard's considered one
pretty
of the
much
best.
that entire time.
Lazard, and I know people will roll their eyes at this because they did when the Chiefs signed Juju and MVS. When people kept bringing up physicality and blocking, they're like, that's not what they're looking for. The Chiefs kind of were. And Alan Lazard is considered one of the better blocking wide receivers.
Do they need more then? I mean, they got plenty of good blocking wide receivers.
That is not the number one priority.
No, I know.
But if Juju's not on the team next year, yeah, I think it is an area that they would look for. Someone that can, of course, catch 800 yards worth of footballs, but also someone that's a really good blocker because they would lose that if Juju's not back. And Alan Lazard is well known as a pretty damn good blocking wide receiver, one of the better ones, as a matter of fact, in the league.
Jacoby Myers played in one less game than Lazard, had 3 less catches, more yardage, same number of touchdowns. The year before, he had way more yardage. The year before, he had way more yardage. Like, he just been, for me, I think the thing I like about Myers is what I'm more worried about replacing in Juju, which is not his blocking. The thing I'm worried about replacing in, no, I understand.
Not my number one concern.
No, I know, but I kind of want a target monster. And I know that neither of those guys have necessarily fit that bill strongly at any point in their NFL career. It was way more for Lazard this year.
60 catches.
Because he had 60 catches. Jacoby Myers had more than that. And that's certainly the best season of his career, so Lazard would seemingly be in the up. Myers a year younger. He's done that 3 times versus just the one. And if I'm looking for a guy who can get 70 catches on 90 targets and go for 900 yards, pretty much what Juju Smith-Schuster did this year, Jacoby Myers feels like kind of a sure bet in that. The only argument I can make for Lazard is this was the first year he was the number one target, and he pretty much put up Jacoby Myers numbers. And Jacoby Myers over the last couple of years has consistently been the number one target in New England. So maybe there's an argument there. The quarterback play difference is stark. Like, Aaron Rodgers was an MVP twice during those times that Lazard was there, and he never really took a step.
Yeah, Devontae Adams was there still as well.
No, I understand. But in the year he was the number one guy, Myers still had the better year. They were both the number one in their offense this year.
Right, but don't reference the 2 P seasons because that's not what this past year was.
Aaron Rodgers still had a much better year than Mac Jones. Still a much better quarterback than Mac Jones. Better offense than what the Patriots are running out there. So, I mean, there's still plenty of argument. No, it's not the MVP years, but he's still more productive. I actually just kind of think he fits what they do a little bit better. I've talked myself into him more as a better backup option to Juju Smith-Schuster. And I'm guessing Lazard and Jacoby Myers' numbers will come in very similar.
I think so, but we're all in agreement as these are both backup options.
To Juju Smith-Schuster, yes.
If you can't get a deal done with Juju.
Yeah, I would still, and I think we all would, agree that Juju Smith-Schuster would be the much better choice. But we all understand that, like, if they don't get a deal done by Monday, we all agree that at this rate, he's going to be making, like, I think he's still likely to get a lot of money, unless I'm just completely misrepresenting what the wide receiver market turned into.
Deadline's at 3:00. What's going to happen, man? Daniel Jones still out there without a franchise tag.
Last report is that that's coming down to the wire. I'm guessing Daniel Jones gets done. Why pass up maybe your only opportunity to make an absolute stack of cash? Just come to the middle. Like, if you're Daniel Jones, no offense, but this is the time to settle a little bit. They're still going to offer him $35, $40 million a year. Sorry you didn't get 45. I understand this might be your one big payday, but you have almost nothing to show for your NFL career. You got to 9-7 once? A year where you threw like 8 passing touchdowns? I know it was more than that, but it wasn't a high number. Like, I don't understand why. I don't understand what the hang-up with Daniel Jones is. I don't know what he's hoping for or who he thinks would give him this massive contract aside versus like Lamar Jackson. He had 15 passing touchdowns. That's it. 3,200 yards. Like, they can find replacements for you, man. You've had one semi-decent year, and it wasn't even that. 15 passing touchdowns? That's nuts. Like, just take the money. Daniel Jones, I think, is contract to get done. They'll franchise tag Saquon Barkley. Lamar is the one I don't know. Are they going to take the risk at somebody coming with 2 first-round picks to do it?
Yes.
My guess is that you franchise tag them, and then you try to get the 2 first-round picks from somebody else, like the Falcons.
What's the difference, though? If you go exclusive tag and someone else can match, and you have an opportunity to match it, versus also just regular tag, and then you have to go find the deal and trade them. Like, I don't think either one is still fine if I'm Baltimore.
Similar to the Orlando Brown Jr., where you're like, all right, fine. Go see what everyone else will offer you. Here's the thing, though. Baltimore knows that somebody else will pay him more. Like in the Orlando Brown case, we don't really know.
If you're going to trade him, you're still getting. It's not like you're getting 2 first-round picks, even if they match. You think they're going to get much better than 2? What do they get? Like 2 first and a mid-round pick?
No, they're probably not doing way better than that.
I don't think it really hurts the compensation much if they go exclusive tag on Lamar Jackson.
Do you, if you're one of these teams, like if you're Atlanta, for instance, let's say he gets franchised, which I'm pretty sure, obviously they've already announced that they're going to franchise tag him. DeCosta's said that. They just said they'll do it at the deadline, which is coming up in a little under 2 hours from now. When they tag him, like if you're Atlanta, you do realize that you can offer him a contract that is similar in guaranteed money to what Baltimore is offering, but you can make it so first year heavy that they actually can't match it. Like you can kind of force Baltimore to trade him to you for 2 first-round picks. And if I were one of these teams, the Jets or Atlanta, that's absolutely what I would do. I would force Baltimore's hands to send him my way for a couple of first-round picks. It makes all the sense in the world. If you're these teams, you can't be waiting around. Like if I'm the Jets, I need to know about Rodgers now before this franchise tag thing happens. Because if they go with the 2 first-round picks, I want to be able to offer a deal.
Yeah, the Lamar one is really fascinating because of the trickle-down effect more. Like Daniel Jones, there's not this trickle-down effect. If they don't get a long-term deal done with Daniel Jones, they're just going to tag him. Which, by the way, unless he's willing to take 35, 36, I'm going to tag Daniel Jones because I want to find out, can he run a real offense? Like Mike Kafka deserves all kinds of credit last year for what they did with Daniel Jones. But, all right, New York, go out and put some more wide receivers around him and run a real offense, though, that what quarterbacks, if you're going to win championships, have to run. What they ran with Daniel Jones, they did enough to go and make the playoffs and win. Get credit for that. But Daniel Jones, you laid out his numbers, 15 touchdowns. He ran, and he ran the ball a lot, too. He gets credit for that. But that's not an offense that you're winning a championship with. It's just not.
No, it's
Daniel
like the
Jones,
worst version of Lamar Jackson.
Take the damn training wheels off, because that's what they were this year. Take them off and find out, can Daniel Jones go and be what you have to be as a quarterback in 2023 to win championships? So that's why I have no problem if they wanted to tag him, Cody, and find out. Next year, here's the thing. It could actually cost you wins, though. Like, it could hurt you in the short term because, hey, you know what? He can't. Okay, well, then that's not the guy you should be giving a 4-year deal to
And by the way,
anyway.
that's a really hard thing to do with Dable. Be like, hey, run a worse version of your offense that's less successful.
I understand, but like you need to find out, is he actually a long-term quarterback option?
But Daniel Jones had 7 rushing touchdowns,
Yeah,
so he managed.
Impressive.
No, that's fine. But that means they finished, like, it's fine. Yeah, it's.
But you would agree, though, like the offense, it's.
Finished with the same number of total touchdowns as Derek Carr and Justin Fields and Tua, who barely played.
Yeah, like gimmicky, maybe not the right word, but you got to find out, can he run an offense that you need to go and win championships? And last year, what the Giants ran, it was good enough to make improvements and all that, but that was not still the way you are going to have to get it done with Daniel Jones long term. Like that's not going to work every single year, and you're going to be a 9-win team every year if you keep doing that.
If I were the Giants, but I've made it very clear my stance on which line at quarterback I would eventually just draft a guy on. I'll say this: whatever contract you give Daniel Jones, you better find some outs in that deal, because otherwise you're like the funniest part about Dable's coach of the year, right? And they won, based on the Vegas numbers, they only won 2 more games than they were supposed to because they do have some talent on that roster. And you're like, okay, what's the best case scenario? It's like you can just finish 500 a bunch of times in a row and get fired. Happens all the time, even if they think you're really good at it. Like like Dable can't just be sitting around waiting for Daniel Jones to just like turn into some quarterback he's not at this point. Like I have to assume at some point these teams are going to take a chance on this, but they never learn the lesson. This is the same thing Nick had pointed out with like running backs earlier. Every time, all these teams have watched these big quarterback contracts for quarterbacks who aren't stars not work out over and over and over again, and it turns into that living meme of Tobias Funke from Arrested Development. He's like, has it worked for any of those people? No, but it might work for us. You're like, it's not. The only argument I would say is right now in the NFC, you could have mediocre quarterback play if you are great everywhere else and give yourself a chance to get to the Super Bowl. The 49ers got real close to making that dream a reality, and then they got down to their 4th quarterback, and they just couldn't do it anymore, right? But if Brock Purdy plays in that game, they have a decent chance to beat Philadelphia. They just ran out of steam. They didn't have enough quarterbacks. Somehow 3, all guys who were taken in the 2 guys who were taken in the first round, and one, of course, who was Mr. Irrelevant, as we now know. But like in the NFC, that might be the only conference you can make an argument where maybe with a guy like Daniel Jones for the next couple of years until somebody really hits on the draft, you could kind of get away with it.
Yeah, that division, though. that division's problematic. It was the toughest division in football. Eagles aren't going anywhere. Cowboys, we can make our
will
joke.
bottom out. They will. They do it every
We can joke
year.
all we want, but like the Cowboys aren't going to be a pushover. The Commanders are the only pushover in that division.
But we didn't expect that division to be that good.
No.
And the Cowboys usually bottom out every other year, so they're due. They're due for a 4-12 season.
This is actually
4-12.
Yeah.
They won 4 games like 3 years ago, didn't they?
It does also
Exactly. 3 years ago in the NFL is a long time ago.
Like, you can make the same argument, though. It's like, if you are just the one NFC team who correctly drafts quarterback, what are you going to do? Just run shop for 10 years? No one else has anybody. The best quarterback is Jalen Hurts by a mile, then Dak Prescott, and then no one. And then there's no good quarterbacks. They're all bad. Or they're Aaron Rodgers, who doesn't seem real interested in playing football or might be playing for the Jets. Like, as they currently are played, not their career, because then we'd probably be having a different conversation with Aaron Rodgers.
Coming up in a little bit, we'll get to something that we all need to try to do here in Kansas City, and it will help everybody, and it'll help Nick even on Thursday night, as a matter of fact. We'll explain what that is. But the Royals keep on winning in spring training. Cactus League continues to be well, go well, I should say, for the Royals. And yesterday, something that J.J. Piccolo told us last week actually happened, and it got us thinking a little bit with how flexible they're maybe going to be with certain positions and what they weren't doing in the past. So Michael Garcia played center field yesterday. This guy's typically thought of as an infielder. His third base, shortstop.
That's all he's ever been, as a matter of fact.
They played him in center field. JJ last week said they were going to give him some outfield opportunities. I'm trying to balance, is this a shift in trying to get players on the field that they just really, really like talent-wise and give them more flexibility, something maybe they weren't doing in the past? You brought up Mondesi. Or is this, hey, there's this World Baseball Classic going on, and we got like 8 of our players playing on different countries, and now's the time to do it because we've got an outfielder in MJ Melendez who's
I
playing
understand,
for Puerto
but you can
Rico
just play
anyway.
some like 24-year-old career minor leaguer. You know, that's what normally happens. I've watched enough spring training baseball to know that there are a bunch of dudes wearing number 97 gold that they can go stick out in center field to take at bats just for the hell of it.
Good
because
year, 1997, great year. Yep.
as many guys who are gone, they can, Garcia could be playing the infield where he is naturally positioned. This, to me, is about trying to get a guy on the roster they think is good and not waiting for their spot to come up. Like, I know maybe I'm getting a little overzealous with it, Gold, because I understand that the last organization, one of the biggest things that really stood on there, that consistently made part of their organization was Dade Moore would always tell us 2 things had to happen for a guy to make the major leagues. I don't know how many times I heard him say it. 10, 15, 20, 30, a million, a lot, right? He'd say they have to be performing really well, like have earned the right by performing great in the minor leagues. We need a spot for him. And the spot form part was always the nonsense because it would be just some like aging veteran who was eating up the roster spot, not even performing at a level that justified the end, right? And instead, they're like, you know what? Forget having a spot. If Michael Garcia can play center sometimes and short sometimes and third sometimes and whatever sometimes, we'll put him on the roster. I don't need a spot. That kid's too good. We're going to find a way to play him. To me, that's what I'm hoping that this signifies.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, I hope that's what the change and shift has been throughout the organization. I thought they should have been willing to do in the past. It's also not like, Kyle Isbell, who has the inside track on the center field job with the Drew Waters injury. It's not like he's had a bad spring hitting. I mean,
he's hitting like 400.
They know that the defense is there. But yeah, he's hitting 400. I think his on base is, 550, something like that when we checked this morning. And they brought in Jackie Bradley Jr.
A little competition, it's fine.
So I don't know. I don't think playing him in center field is because, man, they're like, oh, we need to have another option right away. But it just means, all right, if we were to leave him on the opening day roster, could he play 4 positions for us? Can he be kind of a guy that gives us some more and more flexibility? That's how he starts in the big league club versus starting in AAA Omaha. And it also buys him more time to figure out if Hunter Dozier is going to turn things around the first month or so of the season.
The only strong argument for not obviously playing him is you don't want, it's the service time thing. Which Tampa Bay Rays, you care about. Guy for 2 weeks, man. That's it. 2 weeks and you get a whole year control. If you're a small market team who says they can't afford the kind of money that like the Padres are spending, which has certainly been the Royals' line, right? To this point, they've shown a willingness to spend some, but not spend $1 billion on 3 free agents. Then you have to buy yourself a little bit of time here and there. Like, how can we fit this?
If I told you though that Garcia was only going to play every 4 days though in the big leagues, when you rather start the season in AAA anyway?
Because I know the Royals aren't going to be any good. Probably. Like, I want good players up. You know, part of this is 1 year, to me, shouldn't make a difference for any size market. If Michael Garcia is eventually worthy of an extension, I don't care that he only get him for one less year. Just pay him. Like, I know that seems selfish, and maybe that's not realistic. If I'm thinking more realistically, I should say, wait the 2 weeks, keep in the minors, and then do whatever the hell you want.
I'm not even talking service time, though, anymore. I'm saying, like, just in general, like, for his own sake, wouldn't you? I mean, he's only playing once every 4 days in the first 3 weeks of the big league season.
Yeah, probably. Anyway. You probably want him to get every day at bats. But I think if they're calling him up, their plan is to play him 5 days out of 7. Here's 2 in center. Here's 2 at third. Here's 2 at short. We're going to move everybody around. We're going to share this DH role because we're not going to let Franmil Reyes hit every day at DH, who's probably likely their DH right now with Vinny Pasquantino.
We need to get Franmil Reyes on the show, by the way. I watched some funny interview he just did the other day.
Oh, okay.
With Jake Eisenberg on.
I was not expecting you to say we should have Franmil Reyes on the show, but okay.
To have Franmil Reyes on the show.
Nick, do you think you could make that happen?
No, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Hard
guys.
to get him. Hard to get him on the show.
Yeah.
Is he a tough kid?
Yeah.
What was the interview?
It was with Jake Eisenberg on the Royals TV broadcast or whatever, or this past weekend.
But what was funny about it?
Just his personality. Yeah. He just said he called himself a teddy bear.
I mean, look, I'm interested. I'm interested in this interview.
He says I'm a big teddy bear. It's like, okay.
But I think Franmil Reyes is probably going to be the DH. Vinny's going to be the first baseman. There's movement in all this. Like, if you can get multiple and like, you know who can play 2 days a week? Hunter Dozier. You can play 3 days a week. Hunter Dozier can play 3 days a week. You need to get some extra spots at third base because you're only going to give Garcia 2 in center field and he needs 3 at third. Cool. Because Dozier can do a couple of DH and split it with Franmil Reyes and can do a couple days at third so that Garcia can fit in. You're just going to need to have a lot more. They don't have like the super utility guy, the guy who just moves around for everybody. Everybody's going to have to shift over one spot in order to make this work, which means as many guys as you can get to play multiple positions works. Right now, they don't have that many guys. Hunter Dozier can play third, kind of a corner outfield spot, DH and a little first, and you don't love him at any of those positions. MJ Melendez can catch and play right, maybe some left, depending on how they're going to do that. Like, they don't have that much flexibility. Garcia having some flexibility allows him to move some stuff around a little bit easier than this. Like, it's the same as, like, it kind of feels like, should Massey learn to play left? Whatever, right? You need a little more, because you don't have Whit Merrifield anymore, honestly. You don't have the super fluidity of the roster. You need a couple of guys who can just kind of shift around. Garcia makes a lot of sense for that.
We'll get to what's trending coming up in 8 minutes or so and then get back in to the Orlando Brown situation. But we're 2 weeks now into the new airport. 2 weeks?
Yeah, it feels right.
And,
the end of February.
Okay. And there's a theme that is building, and people are frustrated, and people are blaming it on the design of the airport, but I don't think it is that. Dana and Parks over on KMBZ were discussing this yesterday, too, that the pickup area at the new airport terminal is backed up so much that you almost look like there's traffic to get to the airport once you're even off the highway. And that is because there are people that are parking their car at the pickup area, like they maybe used to do at the old terminal, and sitting there for their friend, family member, whoever, to come out of the baggage claim area. The problem is it's not meant for you to park there. It is supposed to be, the person's already sitting there. You get in the car, you get the hell out and go and go.
Throw the bag in the car and move.
Go. And people aren't doing that. They want you to go to the cell phone lot. You're supposed to wait until the person says, hey, I'm leaving the baggage area. I'll be there. Problem is nobody's doing that, and it's creating this huge backlog. We got to fix this. Nick's going to the airport on Thursday.
Fix it now.
Needs to be fixed.
Let's just talk about this from
Let's help each other out here.
Let's just agree that as listeners of 610 Sports Radio, listeners of Cody and Gold, we're asking you nicely.
Well, that's not a question. That's a demand.
Stop it. Stop pulling up to the parking lot until your person's there. Wait in the cell phone lot like a civilized human.
People are
and when they are there, then get in the line and go pick them up.
They're saying that the cell phone lot's too far away. It's a mile away. It's not that big. It takes you 4 minutes. It takes you 4 minutes.
That's literally
4 minutes.
The definition of a cell phone lot. It's not supposed to be a 2-second walk. It's supposed to be, what do they call it? A cell phone call
So they're
away.
getting off. Yeah, so they're getting off the plane. You're like, hey, I'm getting off the plane. I'm going to go get my baggage.
Well, they're saying not to call until you actually have your baggage.
Whatever. Fine. Well, look, even if you did this, it'd be an improvement.
Let's use me as an example because when Lindsay comes in town, she won't be checking any luggage.
Perfect. So when she actually steps off the plane, she should call you, and you should make your way up towards the actual terminal. And don't be like some people, which I thought we just had common sense that this is not how you should do it. There's multiple reports of people parking their car and leaving their car to go walk inside the terminal. There's a parking garage for that. Like, what are we doing? It's something like you can all help yourselves. If you want to really go in and greet your friend or family member in the terminal, that's fine. There's a parking garage. So starting today, they're going to have traffic enforcement up there. That's the other problem. They haven't had that. So now, hopefully, you can be a little, you need to start threatening. They're going to start towing cars today. Good.
They don't need to be threatening. Just take their cars. There's a sign. Somebody showed a sign a half hour ago. By the way, this sign is not new, and it says, no parking or standing. Towing will happen. Like, this has been clearly the rule at every airport for eternity.
Yeah. I rarely see police officers enforce it, and even when I do see it enforced, their jobs are so difficult because the second they're yelling at one car, there's 40 other cars doing the exact same thing. And so you walk away, and that person you just told to keep it moving is still sitting right there.
God, that is the most powerless thing to yell at somebody. Keep it moving. Like, you just don't feel like you're doing anything at that point, don't you?
Yeah. It's tough.
Keep it moving, bub. Like, it feels like you can hit him with a bub, and it doesn't do anything. Nobody cares.
I mean, I don't know if we're going to start throwing around bubs, but,
This seems like a pretty
pals?
easy,
What about some
like a pretty easy fix, but almost like an education campaign is needed.
We're educating. Right now, we're helping.
Educating people on, promise you, it'll work better for everybody if you just do this. It may sound crappier for you to go sit in a cell phone lot, but it actually is going to make your life a hell of a lot easier if everybody's starting to do that. It's going to take some time. This is probably something that's going to take months and months and months to figure out, if not more. Because people are used to not doing the cell phone lot thing, guys. We all grew up in Kansas City. You would go up to Terminal B or C when they had all three running, A, B, C, and you would just drive in circles until you saw the person on the curb. You just keep driving in circles. Or you just park by the curb, which you weren't supposed to do then either. Now you can't do either.
You were never supposed to park by the curb, but we all did it because it was...
And it wasn't busy.
It was easy to do.
It wasn't busy because it was 3 separate terminals at that time, so there wasn't as much congestion. The one terminal idea works in just about every other city, so it's not that, oh my gosh, they shouldn't have done the one terminal. That's not
I like that everyone's just like, they must have had a huge, egregious design flaw. You're like, you didn't think they thought about the flow of traffic when designing a single terminal airport? They didn't even consider traffic.
Oh, no.
This goes back to our stadium conversations. Like the idea that billions of dollar projects don't have ingress and egress plans is always funny to me. Like, everyone's like, yeah, they just came up with this plan for these billions of dollar projects, and they never thought about people getting in and out. Like, no, that's not how people aren't.
It's like that they're sitting in office like, oh my God, Bill, we're supposed to think about traffic. You didn't think about that? You're like,
damn, too late.
You got any suggestions now?
I saw
notable. Just make it wider? Or?
I saw notable Kansas City pseudo celebs complaining about this.
Pseudo celebs. Can you please elaborate?
Former Chiefs players.
Wow.
One of whom.
Oh, I know who it is.
Is a weekly guest on this
that
radio
narrowed it.
station.
I mean, just go ahead and say their name now.
Well, that's a lot of different people.
Mitchell Schwartz was complaining about it.
Really? This guy travels a lot.
I was like, man, you travel a lot. You understand how airports work. Come on. But I think he was...
I think he's probably more frustrated at the notion that everybody doesn't understand this works.
I think he had some misplaced frustration. He was blaming the airport because he was picking up, I think, his wife from the airport. But maybe he didn't realize that it was just a bunch of people not doing it the right way.
Until that stops happening, it's going to be a problem. Until people start using the cell phone lot and realizing that you don't... If someone is taxing to their gate, don't already be parking at the damn curb.
Schwartz is clearly on our side, waiting in a long line because everyone else parked at the curb. No enforcement, keeping these things moving.
No enforcement. Okay.
He knows.
They're
enforcing it today. They're going to start towing cars today. It needs to happen.
I think you should go. I think you would be perfect at volunteering your own time to going out there.
Because of my 5th grade safety patrol days?
Yeah, you have experience.
my 5th grade safety patrol days.
Let's get him a vest and those wands again.
Get me my elementary school vest, please.
You're blowing whistles?
Oh, give me a whistle. Yes. Give me a whistle. Knock on the window. You can't park here. Well, the person's right on the way. I don't care. You got to move. You got to move. Tell Betsy she can wait 5 more minutes. Let's go.
That's what
they need.
Go-getters out there.
They need some aggressive people to tell people what the hell to do up there, and some signage. It sounds like they also need some signage to make it simpler for everybody involved. Change is tough on people.
Turns out they don't like it.
Turns out. Shockingly, Kansas City at times has had issues with change. We've talked about this with all kinds of projects in our city, unfortunately.
Pretty consistent issue.
All right, coming up next, we will get to what's trending and back into the Orlando Brown options that exist.
You're listening to Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Subscribe and download all new episodes of Nick's Waving in the Wheat podcast, released every Thursday on the 435 Podcast Network and the Odyssey app.
BetMGM is giving soccer fans a chance to go for the goal this season. Just place a one-game parlay wager with 4 legs or a minimum plus 400 odds on any English Premier League game. If all the legs of the parlay hit but one, you'll receive up to $25 back in bonus bets. This offer is available all season long. Just log in to your account or download the BetMGM app and sign up today. Get on the field and turn game time into showtime with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Kansas only. New and existing customers offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued at non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Do you feel uneasy? Irritable? Does your home internet bill give you anxiety or cause you to make angry noises? You may be suffering from a serious condition known as UPH, unexpected price hikes.
It could happen to anyone, even you. You could get stuck paying more than you expected.
But now there's a solution to put an end to your suffering. T-Mobile 5G home internet is just $50 a month, and it comes with T-Mobile's price lock guarantee. That means they won't raise your home internet rate ever.
Side effects include feelings of joy when you receive your bill, no annual contracts, and no monthly fees.
Try T-Mobile home internet for just $50 a month with autopay. Plus, get price lock guarantee and put an end to the fear of unexpected price hikes today.
They won't raise my internet rates? Thanks, T-Mobile.
Check availability at T-Mobile.com/5G internet.
Price lock exclusions like taxes, fees, select promos, and third-party services apply. Qualifying credit and service required. Regulatory fees included in $50 price for qualified accounts, plus $5 per month without autopay.
Wendy's home-style French toast sticks are so delicious, some are saying that they're better than their mom's breakfast.
Excuse me, did you just say Wendy's French toast sticks are better than my breakfast?
Mom, is that you?
Answer the question.
I said some people are saying that because they're so crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside and perfect in every way.
Uh-huh. And what do you think?
I think it's time to tell people to choose wisely. Choose Wendy's sweet and crispy home-style French toast sticks.
That's still not an answer.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Shopping for jewelry? At Shane Company, we want to make it easy for you. We offer free express shipping, free 60-day returns, and a free lifetime warranty.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code JOY at checkout. That's harrys.com, code JOY. Enjoy.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, trunk lids, license plate holders, and headlights. They've got lots of headlights. When you need parts, get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's gonna fit. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Why have over 2 million people trusted their bath remodels to Bathfitter? When a normal day is anything but normal, we fit your schedule with our unique tub-over-tub process installed in just a day with no demolition. When high quality is the only quality that matters, we fit your standards. We've been remodeling baths for over 35 years, and every bath we install comes with a lifetime warranty. Get the bath you want in a day with quality that lasts a lifetime. Bathfitter, it just fits. Visit bathfitter.com to book your free consultation.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Max Motors. 9 major vehicle brands to choose from. MaxMotors.com.
Max Ford Hyundai of Manhattan is proud to be an official partner with K-State Athletics. We're passionate about helping you with your automotive needs. Visit MaxMotors.com to learn more.
What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending, more news in the NFL quarterback-wise. According to Diana Rossini from ESPN, the Jets have flown on the owner's private plane to California to meet with Aaron Rodgers in person, according to sources of hers. The Packers have given the Jets permission to speak with Aaron Rodgers. Now, a lot of news in the last 24 hours about Jets linking themselves there to Aaron Rodgers. Makes more sense why it's heated up. Not only are we close to the league year, but Derek Carr is off the table. I mean, you are all in on Aaron Rodgers now, and I think it'll be viewed as a complete failure now if the New York Jets do not find a way to convince Aaron Rodgers that that's the team you want to be traded to. And then they still have to work out compensation with the Green Bay Packers. But that is the one to follow. We're also getting closer to the franchise tag deadline for a couple quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think you'd be taking advantage of a desperate Jets team who missed out on the Derek Carr front because clearly the Saints were his choice kind of all along, but you should probably be taking those chances. Yeah, Daniel Jones coming up as well, Lamar Jackson. We already know Lamar Jackson is expected to be franchised. The question is which one? Daniel Jones, last report was it's going to come down to the wire. 90 minutes left. They don't want to franchise him because they want to bring back Saquon Barkley. But obviously, if you're between those two, you have to choose the quarterback, even if it's just for 1 year. That's just the way you're going to have to do it. Next up on What's Trending, the Chiefs will let Orlando Brown Jr. discuss with other teams, even though this is their exclusive rights free agent negotiation period. Normally, they would have until next Monday to work out a long-term contract because they are not going to franchise tag him, per the news yesterday. And yet, they're going to let other teams talk to him because they want him to feel out what the market looks like. Meanwhile, in a couple of minutes, we'll talk about it. The Bucs just released their long-term left tackle, so maybe another option for Kansas City if Orlando Brown Jr. isn't back in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform.
Next up on What's Trending, Amazon making what we kind of assumed already official. That is that they're going to have a Black Friday football game the day after Thanksgiving. It'll be at 2 o'clock Central Time on November the 21st, or 24th, excuse me. First ever Black Friday game for free. They're going to also do that. Eventually, you'll have to have a Prime membership, but first go around, it'll be free. Of course, the schedule and the teams who are going to play in it, we'll find out over the next couple of months. I honestly hope the Chiefs are not in that game. I don't want them playing on Friday afternoon of Thanksgiving weekend. Ugh.
No, I like that to be.
But it would not surprise you, would it?
No, of course not. Amazon would obviously want them, and they're going to let every single network who buys NFL games get the Chiefs once.
Yeah, I mean, well,
right?
the Chiefs
now,
will.
The Thursday night football.
Yeah, they'll have the Thursday night regular season.
Yeah, but not that
game.
first one. That
first one's on NBC.
Yeah. They're going to get that one. But there'll be some other Thursday night game the Chiefs end up on. Everybody's going to get some part of the Super Bowl
It'll be Chiefs and Broncos or something.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Next up on What's Trending, the World Baseball Classic starts tonight, which is exciting if you are a fan of international baseball play. Obviously, several Royals expected it. We know Vinny Pasquantino, Nicky Lopez are on the team together for Team Italy. Brady Singer expected to be on Team USA. There's a lot of guys sprinkled throughout all of these different squads, Salvador Perez and MJ Melendez. I'm excited for the World Baseball Classic. I know it's one of those silly 3-week events but the players take it so seriously. I'm interested. And reportedly there's a guy in Team Japan that they say is as good as Shohei Ohtani, so I kind of want to see it.
I'm more likely to watch this week and up until next Thursday. After next Thursday, it's March Madness.
Then it's
time.
NCAA
It's March Madness time. But when the tournament's not on, I'll watch the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, tournament time kind of changes it.
Which country are you guys rooting for?
U.S. of A,
I'm all
my
about
friend.
the USA. I can't speak for you, obviously, but Cody and I are Team USA in this. I don't know what country you typically back.
Yeah, don't speak for me, because you don't get to speak for me.
What country do you actually back when it comes to world things, usually?
You know, I think there's good guys on every side, on each side.
He likes Russia.
Yeah, Russia's not in the World Baseball Classic, Nick. Sorry, you have to pick a different country.
No, you know, I've got friends on a lot of different teams,
Mm-hmm.
and I support all of them, all nationalities.
Yeah, so who is it?
I mean, America's definitely one of them.
One of them.
Yeah.
So USA,
Germany,
Korea,
USA, Italy,
Korea.
USA and
That's
Italy.
squad?
Okay.
Yeah. WBC, baby.
Get
There's
your
no way.
WBC apparel, man. Get that WBC apparel.
Yeah, I'm just a fan of the tournament itself. It's not really about
barely
the
likes
teams.
Major League Baseball. There's no chance he's watching the World
Yeah,
Baseball
but like when you put it
Classic.
on when you pit, you know, rival countries against one another, that's when my juices really get flowing.
Oh, yeah?
Hell yes.
So are your juices flowing? What about the same as that GM that said his nipples were hard for Alan Lazard? Do your nipples get hard with the World Baseball Classic?
No.
How hard are they for?
Doesn't have that effect on me.
Okay. Not
But
quite
the
Alan
juices are flowing.
Okay, good to know. That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. We alluded to this during What's Trending, but the news that Orlando Brown Jr. is not going to be tagged here at 3 o'clock. We knew that yesterday. But that Donovan Smith, a left tackle for the Tampa Bay Bucks.
You keep asking who's going to play left tackle.
It's another name in I guess, as an option in free agency. I still don't really like any of the free agent options, but Donovan Smith's interesting. He'll turn 30 in June, so he's a veteran. He's on the other side of 30. My question would be if he were to sign a 1 or 2 year deal. To me, he's still not your long-term answer. He's
In left
someone
tackle,
that
can't you get away with
missed a lot.
signing someone over 30 a little easier?
I'm fine. Yeah, but like Donovan Smith on a one year deal or something, sure, while I go draft a left tackle, fine. He also was hurt a lot last year. I'm not signing a long-term deal for Donovan Smith.
But he is an option, and an option that didn't exist
another name.
20 minutes ago at left tackle.
Well, before if you were looking at free agent left tackles before Donovan Smith gets cut or others, you're talking outside of Orlando Brown Jr. himself, like names we've talked about in Kansas City, like Jerron Christian, who was on the training camp roster.
I think a bunch of people asking us if Lucas Niang can do it.
Right, Prince
Tega Wanugo or Wanugo. Whatever it is, yeah.
Like those are some of the names that are like that's how thin it is right now until some more cap cuts happen. And then Lucas Niang thing is like the guy hasn't played football much at all in 3 years.
I'd be terrified if they went into the year thinking Lucas Niang.
And Kennard, they like Kennard. Maybe he's a right tackle option, but he couldn't get on the field this year. He might be actually got to look at right tackle again. We'll see. But he did. You know, we were up in St. Joe and we were talking about him, and Andrew Wiley kept getting reps, and obviously it was the right decision. Andrew Wiley had a nice season for the amount of money that they were paying him to be the right tackle. Maybe I actually think there's a chance Kennard could factor in the right tackle conversation more than I think Niang's factoring in anything, guys. Niang just hasn't played football.
Yeah, Niang, you can't put your eggs in that basket. That's insane. That would be psychotic behavior. Like it would just be beyond the safety net that the Chiefs have ever employed. Now, I didn't think they were going to start 3 rookie corners last year going into it and did, but this is left tackle, and you got a $500 million quarterback. I would say this. We had asked earlier in the show, what are options? A, B, C, D, whatever. Go as far down the list as you want for left tackle for the Chiefs, and we all agreed that getting a deal done with Orlando Brown Jr. at your price would still be option A. That's what we think the Chiefs are doing.
25%
by
chance,
allowing him to negotiate with these other teams to show him what the price at. You can move Donovan Smith right up to option B or C for me.
Really?
That is a viable, logical solution to your left tackle problem, who will cost you 60%, I think, or 70% of the Orlando Brown price with way less guarantees, who has been a starting left tackle for a Super Bowl caliber team for 7 seasons. And 30-year-old left tackles, even though this is the first year he's been hurt, typically don't just fall off at 30. They usually have some juice outside of that.
We're talking about a lot of juice in this segment. A lot of juice.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I just don't think that's not a position that just like falls off at age 30. Sometimes those guys play till 33, 34, 35. We've seen, I know Jason Peters eventually fell off a cliff, but like you've seen some of those guys have success into their mid-30s. To me, Donovan Smith, maybe not option B, but like this is probably the choice I'd choose if I couldn't go trade out for Laramie Tunsil, which would be my option too, if given the choice, or the draft. Like, Donovan Smith's got to be on that list, doesn't he? I mean, this is a starting caliber left tackle that you've been asking for.
I like it as an option more than Isaiah Wynn.
Or Taylor Lewan.
Isaiah Wynn is 28. He was a first-round pick for the Patriots. He struggled just in general.
Yeah, he's never been good. Donovan Smith's been good.
Have you guys scrubbed the tape on Donovan Smith yet?
Cody sounds like he has. He's all in. He already put him as the second. He put him
you got definitive rankings, so you must have already watched the film.
I think if a guy starts 80 games at left tackle in the NFL, he's probably good enough to start for you at left tackle.
Here's the only way I would be interested in that is one-year deal, 2 years max. And
you're
then
talking about like you already start 124 games.
And start drafting a left tackle. So you buy yourself a year of development.
It's the Brandon Albert thing that we talked about before. You draft the right tackle that you're moving to left tackle the following year or two. There's nothing wrong. That plan's fine too. Yes. But Donovan Smith is I'm telling you, that is the exact same player you've been asked for this whole time. You're like, there aren't just like left tackles who can start at left tackle on the free agent market. That's exactly what he is.
Well, in fairness, literally, Cody, that happened in the last 15 minutes.
No,
you're acting like I've been missing the guy for the last 3 days or whatever.
I'm not saying that.
15 minutes ago,
you're talking about him like, pass, don't want him, guy sucks. And you're like, he's started 120 games at left tackle.
Yeah, but you're acting like you're good to give him like a 3 or 4 year contract and just be done with it. And I'm telling you, hell no.
No, I don't think I would just lock up long term. I told you I'd want some outs in this thing.
A 1 year deal or something, or a 2 year deal, sure. But I'm not signing a 4 year deal with Donovan Smith. You can tell me 70% of the cost or not. I'm not doing that.
If it were a 4 year deal, it's really a 2. Fine. How this works depends, because the Orlando Brown Jr. deal was a 5 year deal, but that was a 3 year contract. That was a 3 year contract they offered Orlando Brown Jr. So if there's a 4 year deal that's essentially 2, then I'm interested. For a 30-year-old left tackle who would be, again, a significant cost reduction to Orlando Brown, who has started left tackle plenty enough in this league to feel like he's capable of doing it. I guess the question I'd have is injury, but I don't know. I don't know how serious that injury was, if it's just a 1 year thing or if
the Bucs are moving on because Tristan Wirfs, who's been playing right tackle, has been very, very good. And my guess is they're going to shift Tristan Wirfs over to left tackle, right?
Yeah, and they mortgaged their future and cap situation for a Super Bowl. So they're now running up against the number where it makes more sense to look at other options for themselves. Everyone else runs into these things. Just because, I hate this notion to be like, well, a guy got cut, so he stinks and can't play anymore. That's just objectively not true. Not how the NFL works at all. By that same logic, we shouldn't have any interest in Juju Smith. He's not cut, but any interest in anybody who's ever been cut by any team. That's crazy.
That's not what I'm saying at all about Donovan Smith.
No, I know.
But also, by the way, that works both ways. He got cut by another team. The Chiefs have to, he's available on the trade market. How could the Chiefs not trade for that guy? That crap is annoying too, because it happens. It happens on that side. I mean, Taylor Lewan got cut a week ago, and everybody's like, "Oh, got to go sign him. Got to go do it." Oh, it's trade deadline. Brandon Cooks is coming up. Got to go trade for him.
Oh my God, are there people calling for Brandon Cooks?
No, but these things have come up.
Can you guys imagine Brandon Cooks in this offense? Come on.
And in fairness, when I joked about Luan last week, it was in jest. I just want to make that clear.
Okay, all right. Who was
just because.
Who was the linebacker 2 years, or was it a year or 2 years ago?
I don't remember.
For the Packers, and then he played 2 more games and he's out of the league.
Jalen Smith.
Yeah, it was Jalen Smith. There you go.
And that guy was a stud out of college. He just could not stay.
Play was so bad at linebacker at that time. I would have played anybody there.
Did he even?
You know what? The irony is that Cody, you're so eager to always hand out bad contracts to players, and Brett Veach hands out really good contracts, and he doesn't hand out the bad ones. I think an extension for Orlando Brown Jr. would have been a bad one. He said no, I won't do it.
Bite your tongue on that. He's still got 6 more days before you're off.
Yeah, but I don't think if they come, let's say they're not
doing it.
If they do,
Nick doesn't want a long-term contract under any circumstance.
Yeah, if they do come to an agreement on a long-term deal, it'll be way more on Brett Veach and the Chiefs' terms than Orlando Brown Jr.'s
But if
terms
they do it, do you agree that if they do it, it will be in free agency when they find out what the market is? That seems to be the one thing.
I don't think they have to wait till it really opens up, because they're allowing him to talk to teams. They're going to get that. They're going to get that figured out by Monday or Tuesday. They don't have to wait till next Friday when it officially opens. They're letting him talk to other teams. His agent's going to get a feel right away.
Yeah,
I think for what the dollar amount actually can be. I don't think they have to wait all that long to figure out if he's overpricing himself or no. You know what? The number he said he can get. It's just he's going to have to go get it on a bad team. And good luck winning a ring ever again in your career. I mean that might be part of the calculus that they're going to have to look at.
I don't think he's real. I mean, maybe I'm just dead wrong on Orlando Brown, but he's got his ring. I think he'd like a big pile of money now.
I agree
pile
with that.
of it.
I agree with that, but
He
that's
wants
what
to
the Chiefs
Scrooge
are.
McDuck into a swimming pool full of gold coins after this deal.
What's so funny about that?
It's just funny imagining Orlando Brown Jr. diving off of a board into a vault swimming pool full of gold coins.
Hey, he's got a ring in his back pocket.
He gets $100 million and he converts them all into Sacagawea dollars.
There's a Family Guy skit when he does it. He just like breaks his neck because obviously jumping.
Feel good.
You couldn't swim in it.
No, but when you have the ring, like now, go get paid. Go get your money. Go get your money. Can't fault it whatsoever.
Get it
you feel like
anywhere else.
You feel like you've accomplished, and even though I would disagree on this, like all you could accomplish where you're at. Now you could get multiple rings if you stayed in Kansas City, but you feel like you've accomplished everything. You've reached your peak at that spot, and now you're gonna go get yourself some money, and that's probably where Orlando Brown Jr. is at this point.
I think, like, I'm not quite, like, I'm probably somewhere in between. You're like, hey, if the Chiefs say that they're getting a long-term deal, you're fine with it because it's pretty much on their terms. Nick's like, under no circumstance. I'm like, I'd like to see the numbers first. Because there are definitely ways where they extend Orlando Brown Jr., and I still don't like it.
You brought this up. You brought up the idea that, you can't give out elite contracts to non-elite players, and they did it with Frank Clark, and they got away with it, but they did it with Frank Clark in a position where you could afford to get away with it, first off.
Yeah, because they had a quarterback on a rookie deal.
Yeah, and you need your left tackle to show up for 20 weeks. You got to protect your quarterback for 20 weeks. You can't just have your quarterback be protected for 10 weeks or just the final 5 weeks of the season. Like, you need him to get through the season.
The biggest knock that I think you saw was how many times they had to help Chip on the left side to help out Orlando Brown. And, like, if it's a franchise left tackle that I'm paying top 3 money, that shouldn't be something I should have to do. I shouldn't have to hold back potentially one of my weapons on offense to help you out.
Yeah, which is why...
And that's part of the thought process. I'll still always say, whether Orlando Brown comes back or not, I still think there's probably a balance of how people have perceived him. He's not a top 3, but I also think he's still a top 10 left tackle in football. You would think the way people have talked about him at times that he was the 20th best left tackle in football. And the only thing I will caution people on it is that it's not you can't just go find any random free agent. I know Donovan Smith's not a random free agent, Cody, but you don't realize maybe still how effective he was at times. I'm not telling the Chiefs to pay him like a top left tackle, but also he wasn't terrible. And I feel like we talk like he was a bottom tier left tackle. And I would say be very careful.
No, I don't think that.
Be very careful about what the left tackle play could actually still be on the other side.
We talk about the theory of, like, we understand. Like, I fully get that it could be worse. But it's like, if I'm going to have to, like, let's just use Donovan Smith as an example again. If he also is going to need chips and help and it's a little dicey, like it has been with Orlando Brown Jr. at times here in Kansas City, at least I'll be doing it for 75% of the cost. Right? I don't know what the full drop down will be, but it's
75% of what the cost for Brown would be, not 75% of the cost of what you're paying Brown right now. Right now, you haven't paid Brown a dime.
No. Right now.
Franchise tag, I guess, what was it, $18 million this past year?
No, you got off pretty cheap for the 2 years because you got him towards the end of it, and he was he was a third-round pick, so he wasn't making some big, huge number overall, and I understand the notion of, like, how much worse it can be because, of course, it can always be much dicier, but it's just I have a really hard time wanting to spend franchise-changing dollars on Orlando Brown Jr. And part of me, as much as I do want to protect the franchise quarterback, because obviously I just feel like he'll help protect himself because he's great. He's really good at that. He's good at problem avoidance. Like, that part of it is just like, they'll figure it out. Andy Reid's a really good designer. They'll make sure Mahomes is okay.
We already assumed this, but The Athletic just put out a new story on former Royal Lorenzo Cain. Of course, retiring. He's going to return to Kauffman Stadium this summer for his official retirement ceremony. J.J. Piccolo quoted in that article from Brady McCullough at The Athletic. It's going to be a Royals Hall of Famer. Or Andy McCullough. I'm sorry, not Brady McCullough. That's another beat writer. Andy McCullough doing a story on Lorenzo Cain. That'll be really cool to have Cain his retirement ceremony going in as a Royals
Hall of Famer, as JJ said, right?
Yeah,
we don't have to have this argument like Tyron Matthew. We're in agreement? Lorenzo Cain's a Royals Hall of Famer?
We are in agreement there.
I'd say so.
All right, we're back at it tomorrow from 10 to 2. Expected to have Josh Vernier from Surprise, Arizona join us on the show. Up next, it's The Drive with C-Dot and Rob.
and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANN